Bricks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, signifying their victories at the Brickyard 400 and wondering who would be next. The answer, Bobby Labonte. He and Rusty Wallace exchanged the lead for the last 120 laps of the race before Labonte took it for good with 14 circuits remaining. A victory at Indy means money, prestige, and for Bobby, a further cementing of the foundation which could lead to a championship. The rain is gone, but skies remain mostly cloudy in central New York for the global crossing at the Glen for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at Watkins Glen International.
Bobby Labonte may have fond memories of last weekend's huge win at Indy, but he probably has nightmares regarding his last visit here to Watkins Glen. A year ago, a practice crash at the end of the backstretch sent him scrambling to a backup car, which he also experienced problems with during the race, but managed to nurse it home to a 24th place finish. Another stumble like that today, coupled with a win by fellow front row starting Dale Jarrett, and Bobby Labonte could leave here second in points. Now what Bobby needs to do is exactly what Dale Jarrett did here a year ago. Stay out of trouble. Stay out of the gravel pit, stay out of the ditches, and log a top 10 finish. If he does that, he could find himself exactly in the same spot where Dale Jarrett was last year in December on that stage in New York as NASCAR's Winston Cup champion.
Veteran racer Rusty Wallace crashed here Saturday morning, so out came the backup car. The car that won the pole and finished third here at Watkins Glen 1 year ago. The last time this road race ace won here, 11 years ago today. This race could truly be a turning point in the season. Dale Earnhardt has his best starting spot of the year, but he's never won here. And in his last 10 starts at the Glen, just won top 5. Ricky Rudd wanted to challenge for the championship, but is still looking for his first win this season. He's won here twice. Then there's Mark Martin, 43rd at Indy and 43rd at Pocono, but he won 3 straight here in the mid-90s. The last win coming 5 years ago today. 4 talented drivers facing a twisted track at a critical turn in the season, and all hoping they get to make the most important turn, the one into victory lane.
This has not been a familiar view for Jeff Gordon on the road courses lately because he's not used to following. Now this is the view he's become accustomed to, celebrating in victory lane 6 times in the last 6 NASCAR Winston Cup visits to the road courses, including the last time out in June at Sonoma, California. In today's quest for a 7th straight victory on the road courses, Gordon has brought back a familiar friend. No, not former crew chief Ray Evernham, but this car, which is a familiar friend. Chassis number 2427 has no catchy name, even though it's carried Jeff to 5 straight wins. Gordon was fastest in happy hour, so there's no reason to believe that he can't win his 4th straight here at the Glen today.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
One phase of the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season is about to end, the road course phase. We, of course, had an event at Sears Point earlier this year. The road course season ends today here at Watkins Glen. Now, as drivers pursue championships, there's always a so-called bump in the road. And, Benny, this could be one of the bumps that Bobby Labonte has to be concerned about.
Well, Jerry Punch has already showed you folks what happened to Bobby Labonte here at the Glen last year. And if he's going to win that first NASCAR Winston Cup championship, there's a couple other bumps along the way. Number 1, Bristol, the night race. Last year, Bobby Labonte finished 26th. And then Talladega. Remember, you're always apt to get in that big one at Talladega. On this spring, Bobby Labonte finished 21st after being involved in the crash. And Ned, here at Watkins Glen, it's always a mechanical exercise because so many things can go wrong.
Well, you use just about every part of the race car on this racetrack, and it takes a lot of abuse. So you can tear up a transmission, the clutch can come out, all of those things you use a lot of times every lap. And you can get off of the racetrack very easy here as well. And there are a lot of cars that normally finish on the lead lap on this racetrack, and you can be running in the top 5 on the last lap. Slip off of the track, miss a gear, have a flat tire, anything can go wrong, and you could wind up 25th or 30th.
Qualifying was rained out. The 43 starters were determined in part by car owner points. Now, some regular teams had to go home. Some fast in practice start toward the back of the 43-car field. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing invite you to sit back and enjoy the 21st race of the 2000 Winston Cup season, the Global Crossing at the Glen. Oh, this is quite an honor then, huh?
Yeah, we're
Not you.
But don't be Steven Slob's chair just because you come in.
Did you watch the Nationals? Did you watch the Nationals last night?
I caught the last 10 laps or so.
I caught all but the last 10 laps or so. Huh? Yeah, I didn't see him take the lead. Yeah, I saw him. He bobbled right at the start, though. You're taking 2 laps or 3?
2, I would get. 3?
Third time by.
Wow. That's 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes. Oh, that's 10 minutes.
So in other words, we'll go over. ESPN's coverage of the Global Crossing at the Glen is being brought to you by brand name tires, oil changes, and more at your neighborhood Walmart Tire and Lube Express. By McDonald's, we love to see you smile. And by Doc Otis, a new flavored alcohol malt beverage, real lemon, real refreshment. Unlock the Doc. Well, some warm-up laps here before we get the green flag. They're competing on a road course that is almost 2.5 miles in length. There are a few straightaways, the longest of which is 2,600 feet. That's the back stretch. The front stretch here is 2,150, and the banking in the corners varies from 6 to 10 degrees. Now, let's take a look at the actual layout of the course. 11 corners in all, and most of them are right-handers.
Yes, you go down in turn 1, a sharp right-hander, another right-hander to start the S's, back to the left in 3, 4, and to the inner loop. We have 5, 6, 7, 8 back there. To the carousel is called turn 9, a left-hander to turn 10, a sharp right-hander back to the start-finish line.
Let's take a look at the Walmart Tire and Lube Express starting lineup for you. And the first 35 positions determined by car owner points. So that means that Bobby Labonte is on the pole alongside second in points, Dale Jarrett. On the second row, we have Dale Earnhardt, and alongside him, Jeff Burton. Then comes Rusty Wallace and Tony Stewart back in row number 3. In the fourth row, Ward Burton and Jeff Gordon going for 7 straight road course wins here today. The 9th and 10 starters are Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin. Then Mike Skinner and Matt Kenseth make up row number 6. In the 7th row, Ron Hornaday, who's filling in for Terry Labonte, who is sitting out his 2nd consecutive race, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Johnny Benson and Tom Hubert, who is sitting in for Jeremy Mayfield, make up the 8th row. Back in row number 9 is Bill Elliott and Steve Park. Then comes Ken Schrader and Sterling Marlin. Joe Nemechek and Chad Little will start back in the 11th row. Row number 12, Robert Presley and Jimmy Spencer. Jerry Nadeau and John Andretti are the 25th and 26th starters. Then comes Michael Waltrip and Kevin LePage. P.J. Jones in the 01 Bell South Chevrolet starts in the 29th position along with Kenny Wallace. Bobby Hamilton and Elliott Sadler are the 31st and 32nd starters. Dave Blaney and Jeffrey Bodine, 33rd and 34th. then Wally Dallenbach, and previous champions provisional going to Darrell Waltrip. Now these remaining starters are based upon how they drew for qualifying on Friday, which was rained out.
And you heard of the luck of the draw? Well, this was the absolute luck of the draw. Robbie Gordon next to last, and Todd Bodine, the last guy to make it in. 5 guys had to go home.
There are some regulars that are not happy at all about the way these final starters were chosen. Boris Said, who was the fastest in practice, will not make the race. Scott Pruitt, a regular in the series. Brett Bodine, also a regular in the series. Both of those teams had to go home and were unable to get into today's 43-car field. Now we have 9 onboard cameras that will complement our coverage.
Todd Bodine, he will start 43rd in the Travelodge onboard camera. Ron Fallows starts 40th in the Bully Hill Vineyard onboard camera, driving for Joe Nemechek. Bill Elliott will start up in the 17th position. This is the McDonald's onboard camera. Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts in 14th. Budweiser onboard camera. Ward Burton, the Husqvarna onboard camera. Ward starts 7th today. Rusty Wallace in this backup car, the Miller Lite onboard camera. Rusty starts in 5th spot. Jeff Burton has the Parts Plus onboard camera. He will start outside that second row alongside Earnhardt. Dale Jarrett has the Quality Care onboard camera, 2nd spot, and on the pole, the Circuit City onboard camera on the car of Bobby Labonte.
We're going to take another break because they have a little more than 1 lap to go before they get the green flag. So plenty of time to take a break before we go racing at Watkins Glen, New York. Show me the race analysis, please. Race analysis, just briefly, please. Thank you. That's all I need. Just about ready to go racing for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. 21 races here at Watkins Glen. 20 have been completed. Bobby Labonte leads Dale Jarrett by 87. 4 of the top 10 separated by 50 points or less. 484 points separate the top 10, much closer than last year at this time when the top 10 were separated by 858 points. We'll go 90 laps here this afternoon on this 2.4-mile road course. The purse is in excess of $2 million, and The pit window is between laps 30 and 35. Mark Martin has the race record of 103 miles an hour set back in 1995. Jerry?
Bob, since 1996, the cars that have gone to victory lane here at Watkins Glen have averaged just 2 pit stops a race. If you do the math and figure it's a 90-lap race, they would pit on lap 30 and lap 60. And many may do that, but here's the catch. In the garage area this morning, there are some teams that can go as much as 38 or 39 laps on fuel. If you back that down from lap number 90, they could pit as early as lap 17 or 18 and make it on one more stop at lap 52. Others just may go with the 30-60 strategy. Others may stretch it out to lap 37 or 38 before they pit the first time. But if you pit early and the caution comes out, you're not going to lead a lap. You're going to be up front. Bill Weber?
Jerry, today the Winston Cup Series races under one of the toughest rules in the sport. Single car, single file restarts on a road course. Because of the shape of this course, it's virtually impossible to make up a lap. You can lose it, but you can almost never get it back. A few years ago, Dale Jarrett made up 4 laps at Indianapolis. That would probably never happen here. It's another reason why road course racing is more unique, which is a 50-cent term for tougher. John Kernan?
Jerry talked about strategy. Well, I just talked to Dale Jarrett's crew chief, Todd Parrott. He said their strategy is really a simple one. We want to lead the first lap, and then we want to lead the last lap. Whatever happens in between, it just happens. Bob?
We're almost set to go racing. The cars are headed into turn number 10. You can see the lights atop the pace truck are no longer flashing, and that means that when they hit the line, they'll get the green flag and we'll be underway.
This is Ron Fellows, you're riding along with Bill Elliott. Now they're going to go back to this little small straightaway of about 100 yards. These cars will make a right-hand corner, and the green flag will be waved in their face, and we'll see, can Dale Jarrett lead that first lap? Can he beat Bobby Labonte down in turn 1?
I'm sure that Bobby has that same idea. And we saw those clouds in the background. They say there's no threat of rain, but there are a lot of clouds here. Okay, we're about ready to go, Bob.
Field comes out of turn number 11. There's a green flag, and the global crossing at the Glen at Watkins Glen is underway.
Bobby Labonte got himself a good job. Dale Jarrett's probably going to drop back to about 4th or 5th instead of leading.
Looks like everybody got through turn 1 okay. That's the lowest part of the track right there. Now we come uphill through the S's, and then they hit the backstretch. You can see that Labonte has grabbed the lead over Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Burton has gone to 3rd position. Here's the inner loop.
All these cars have to be sure and make that inner loop. If you don't, the penalty is you have to stop, come to a complete dead stop, and then take off again. If you don't stop, NASCAR will black flag the car.
Here's that short stretch between turns 9 and 10 as Labonte continues to hang on to the lead. Not a great deal of passing at the moment.
So Jeff Gordon trying to get on the inside of Tony Stewart. There we see Jerry Nadeau, the 25 car, trying to get alongside the 97 of Chad Little. And looks like that will happen.
Well, Bobby Labonte had only led one of his 15 road course races until today. Now he chalks up another one, and Jeff Gordon moves to the inside of Tony Stewart through turn number 1. They make contact coming off the corner.
Well, let's see who's going to get the best of this battle. Gordon has the inside on this right-hander, but now Stewart has it on the other one. They're still banging together.
And George in the wall.
There's significant damage to the right side of Tony Stewart's car, and then Jeff Gordon went into the guardrail, putting further damage to his DuPont Chevy. You can see there's significant damage to it.
And Earnhardt
is into the styrofoam coming out of the inner loop. Tries to get the car refired. We do have a full course caution that's going to come out.
Wow.
And there's significant damage to his car on the left front. He'll be able to drive it back to the pits, but you can see there's also damage to the left rear as well.
So 2 favorites here have trouble on the second lap, Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, as Bobby Labonte comes down to the caution flag. There's the damage on the left side of the GM Goodwrench Chevy driven by Dale Earnhardt.
Now the good thing about, you see the damage to the left rear, the good thing about that damage, I started to say the good thing was the gas goes to the right side. It looked like there's more damage to the right side than there was the left side on Earnhardt's car.
Yeah, that could be a problem for them getting fuel in it, but they got a lot of beating and banging to bang that thing out, getting back on track.
Well, Dale Earnhardt had a 6th place finish at Sears Point. It's going to be worse than that here at Watkins Glen. Let's take a look at this incident between Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon.
Well, see, Tony Stewart got sideways trying to enter turn 3, and he had to go up the racetrack to save the race car. When he did, Jeff Gordon was right there, and we saw Tony run into Gordon, and Gordon, trying to give Tony room, went over and hit the curb on the right side. Now, I don't know if he hit the wall or not.
Now let's see what Earnhardt looks like. He was just coming out of the inner loop and it got around on him.
Yeah. Whether he had a flat tire or what caused the car to spin there, because sometimes when you get on the gas, let's take a look from Burton's in-car camera and see if we can see what happened. There he comes off of there. Oh, yeah, he lost it. Went one way, and when he corrects, no, he doesn't correct. It just goes right on around on him.
Get down to Jerry Punch.
Dale Earnhardt's Goodwrench Chevrolet here on pit road. All three of the 4 corners are dented up. Only the right front fender are okay. They're going to put left side tires on it. Kevin Hamlin and the crew now trying to pull some of the left front sheet metal away from the left front tire that was rubbing when he came in. And as you guys mentioned, tough to get fuel in the car. They did manage to pull some sheet metal away from the dry brake area, and they're trying to pound the rear fenders down so they can get the spoiler down where it'll be effective in the back of the car. Heavy damage, looks to be cosmetic, but it is quite heavy on 3 of the 4 corners on the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Kevin Hamlin still pounding with a sledgehammer on the left front fender, trying to get that fender away from the tire. Earnhardt said it was rubbing pretty bad. He couldn't even turn the wheels coming into pit road without it rubbing severely. They dropped the jack. Now they'll come around to the right side. The good thing about this repair work is it's happening on a road course, and they have plenty of time to do it without worrying about losing a lap. They will take off the right side tires, replace those. Beat the sheet metal now with the right rear away. Kevin Hamlin looking at the front of the car once again to make sure there's no tire rubbing. Don't want to have a tire be ruptured by a piece of sharp sheet metal and Earnhardt goes sailing into the wall somewhere on the backstretch. As Kyle Petty's car goes by, they're still looking at the rear trunk area. They want to make sure that stays down and doesn't go flapping and get black flag. If you lose a lap here at Watkins Glen, you will finish very, very poorly, probably outside the top 25. Remember, he is trying to stay in a championship hunt, trying to go for that 8th Winston Cup title. So this was a big blow for him, but if it had to happen somewhere, guys, it's the best place to happen will be right here because they will not lose a lap. Now Kevin Hamlin, listen to the spotter saying the cars are coming. They're coming toward turn 11. They're going to have to turn Earnhardt loose to keep him on the lead lap. They're trying to get everything they can, use every vital second. The spotter counting them down now as the field comes back, and they will head for that final turn and come beneath the start-finish line, following the pace truck, and now Earnhardt has been motioned to go ahead and lead.
Well, he will stay on the lead lap, but the hope is that he will stay on the lead lap for the rest of the race. Now we have Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart on pit road to assess the damage to their cars.
Yeah, they got to have the crews to take a look and see if there is sheet metal against the tire. You can see on the left front and the right front of Gordon's car.
And we see the right front eye, it's wobbling, so we know that at least the wheel is bent.
Bill Weber.
Well, Jeff Gordon has significant damage to the right and to the left side of his car. He's also overheating a little bit, and he bent the throttle with his foot when he was in that wreck. What they want to do here is change all 4 tires, pull the sheet metal out, and then string the car to make sure that the toe is correct. They work on the left side first. Again, as Jerry pointed out, they have a lot of time to do this, the field under caution. Gordon did make an entire lap, so he's able to tell the team how the car is running, what might be rubbing, and what he's feeling. So they work on the left side. They're also working on the right side, trying to clear some of the sheet metal so it won't rub along the ground. Tony Stewart is also in his pit.
And they're working on the right rear of Tony Stewart's car. They've taken the crush panel out. They're called for a pry bar. And once again, just like Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, they are being very, very deliberate here to get these cars repaired and not lose a lap. In the early laps at Watkins Glen, back with a green flag and more live coverage in just a moment. Stay with us.
You okay, Bob? I don't understand why
Who's back in? Earnhardt?
Jeff and Tony didn't pit the first
on
time
the first
by.
lap. I
don't
wondered that
understand
too.
Well, what?
But what difference it make?
They got to start the rear of the.
Yeah.
So they could have stopped twice under those circumstances.
Like Earnhardt.
Yeah, like Earnhardt.
A lot of ego involved there.
Yep.
Tony.
Yeah, they can name it John and take it to the junkyard. It would be fitting. Did you hear that, Carter?
Name it Tony.
What do you mean it mirrors? You can't see out. Oh. Thank you, Matt.
Getting set to go back to racing here at Watkins Glen. Jeff Gordon is still on pit road as they're now sawing away some of the sheet metal on that car. Bill?
Yeah, working on the front air dam, Bob, trying to cut off a loose piece that they tried to tape up and try and firm up a little bit, but they couldn't do it. They were concerned about going green while they were sitting here, and that's about to happen. They could lose a lap, and they will.
So is the streak over for Jeff Gordon? 6 road course victories in a row. He's on pit road right now as the green flag comes out and we resume competition. 3 drivers involved in separate incidents in the second lap of this race here, and all of them, Gordon, Stewart, and Earnhardt, were in the top 8 in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. Now it's Bobby Labonte leading Jeff Burton. Third is Rusty Wallace. Then comes Ward Burton and Dale Jarrett.
Rusty Wallace got a good jump on the restart there. Took Ward Burton with him past Jarrett.
And it looks like Mark Martin is coming on the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr., taking that position away. Earnhardt Jr. is also in a backup car, having crashed just before Rusty Wallace did in practice earlier this weekend.
Just don't forget that Dale Earnhardt Jr. started back in the 14th position, and last time, right now, he's in 8th position.
Overhead shots going to be courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Cam today, showing you the beautiful layout here at Watkins Glen and the countryside that surrounds this facility in the Finger Lakes region of central New York. Jarrett, Rudd, Martin, Earnhardt Jr. come by as the field completes another lap. Oh, and Sterling Marlin spins off of corner number 11 and creates a bottleneck behind him, but everybody, it looks like, survived.
So far, so good.
And he gets going again. Don't look like he hit anything, did he?
And look at these cars trying to pass, going down in the corner. Turn 1, a great place to pass. You can just get position on the other car.
As Marlin gets going, it will not cause a caution. Let's take a look at what happened to Sterling as he and Jerry Nadeau were side by side into the corner.
And there we see the contact of Nadeau, hits Sterling in the right rear, and around he goes. And John Andretti just barely gets by, and P.J. Jones somehow got by.
An excellent move. That was a great move on P.J.'s part to miss it.
Sterling will drop all the way back to the rear of the field as up front, Jeff Burton is in hot pursuit of Bobby Labonte.
They ran together quite a bit in practice yesterday afternoon in the happy hour, and there didn't seem to be a lot of difference in their cars as far as the speed was concerned.
On board with Ron Fellows, who gained 6 spots just in the last lap.
And you can see he started in 40th spot, is already up to 26th.
Right behind Robert Presley as they come down and hit the line. And are on the throttle hard until right about in here when they downshift, start braking for turn 1.
I said 26. Actually, he was 24th. That puts him in 23rd.
He is a master at this place, Hornet, fellas. By the way, Jeff Gordon did get back out on the racetrack. He is 1 lap down.
The fellow's going to try to outbrake Jimmy Spencer. He does. Across the rumble strip, takes over the 22nd position.
Fellows has 4 victories at this racetrack, 2 in the Busch Series and 2 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Up front, it remains a 2-car battle as Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte continue to face off. Running back in 3rd is Rusty Wallace. That last lap, Jeff Burton was just a little bit faster than Bobby Labonte at 119.104 compared to Labonte's 119.024. Here is Steve Park to the inside of Ron Hornaday and getting a spot.
As Matt Kenseth tried to come along in the car number 17, but the door closed on him.
That will move Steve Park up into the top 10.
He was very fast in practice here. He didn't get to show really what he could do because he didn't get to qualify. But he was fast in practice.
And I think that's basically the theme of this race, Benny. We don't know how good some of these guys are because they simply didn't have that much practice.
Yeah, I don't think the teams know how good they are because, as you said, just not a lot of practice. And some of the practice, the racetrack was slippery because a lot of moisture on the racetrack. Yesterday afternoon, as the happy hour ended, we saw Todd Bodine and Kenny Wallace spin up an interlude. That was simply because it had rained, the racetrack was slick, and both those cars spun.
Jerry, what's the update on Dale Earnhardt?
Well, Bob, it's not good news. He hasn't made much progress. He just radioed a moment ago when the green came out. Said we got a rear sway bar broken, or the rear sway bar has come loose back there where he has the damage. And he's just barely hanging onto the car, just fishtailing sideways when he tries to turn the corner. He's having trouble steering the race car. But they can't do anything about it now. Their hands are tied. They can't come in and make a pit stop. Now they'll lose a lot of laps under the green, and you might as well just park it because you're going to end up finishing back 30th on back. They need to get a caution flag, have some time where they can get under the car and try to either rehook up the rear sway bar or fix wherever it's broken. But right now, he's going to hang on with a very ill-handling race car and a pretty ill race driver.
Saw Kyle Petty look to the inside of Dave Blaney there. That's 37th and 38th.
Now, it takes them about 74 to 75 seconds to go around this track. They would have qualified faster than that, of course, but in race trim, that's about what they run. Although yesterday, Benny, in practice, they were running faster than the track record. And
whoa, here's Jeff Burton to the inside of Bobby Labonte. He just shot by there in turn number 10 and took the lead.
Bobby Labonte saw that number 99 car coming and said, I better not take my usual line through this corner. If I do, there'll be some contact.
So Bobby Labonte leads the first 7 laps, but now Jeff Burton is in control of the global crossing at the Glen. Yeah, all the information is up there. It just hasn't changed since the start of the race. Okay. Where does he get all this stuff here?
Glenn Thatcher, what do you think he is?
Lenny, shut up.
was Earnhardt's truck.
It is plugged in. And
was it? That Park did that?
reboot.
And then went to Watkins.
Back at Watkins Glen, New York, where the lead cars are coming up through the S's. Jeff Burton has the lead, has pulled away a little bit from Bobby Labonte, who is now under considerable fire from Rusty Wallace.
Looked like Rusty was going to try to get on the inside of Bobby Labonte coming off turn 1. Did not make it.
For a taste of the race, here's some Jimmy Dean telemetry on the Rusty Wallace car, showing you he hits the brakes just slightly there at the end of the inner loop. Now a little bit also in turn number 9, but hard on the accelerator here.
Well, you see, there's coming off that turn 9 or the carousel is where Rusty crashed yesterday and 154 miles per hour. Heavy on the brake, downshift, make that left, and go back across the racetrack, use some of those white rumble strips. Once again on the brakes. Let's see what kind of miles per hour he'll turn down this front straightaway. Trying to get on the inside of Bobby Labonte. 151 miles per hour. Wow, he's on the brakes early, wasn't he?
Seemed like it. Reached about 151 before he got on the brakes.
Now we also see some big numbers down this backstretch. From about right there, when they dump it into high gear, about right there, he runs wide open all the way down to the braking point.
The 87 car, Ron Fellows continues to move up. He is now in 16th position.
Say you can't pass on a road course? He's finding a way.
From Toronto, Ontario, Ron Fellows started 40th and has quickly moved up in 12 laps to 16th. And he has picked up one more spot. Johnny Benson just ahead of him in the 10 car, carrying Aaron's Rent sponsorship now as of last weekend at Indianapolis. Fellows now up to 15th spot, about 12 seconds behind the leader.
And Matt Kenseth, the 17 car, gets by Ron Hornaday, takes over the 11th position. There comes Jerry Nadeau and Ron Fellows, a couple of very accomplished road racers. Nadeau in the 25 and Fellows in the 87. This 87 car is owned by Joe Nemechek. Put the car to... Wow, there's a group. That's ugly looking.
Tom Hubert in the 12 car that Jeremy Mayfield normally drives.
He and Ken Schrader and Bobby Hamilton are battling for position back here. Also Jimmy Spencer and Michael Waltrip. The 13th car is driven by Robbie Gordon. Again, different colors on that car, different sponsorship this weekend, Sony. And the 13 car of Robbie Gordon is back in 25th spot.
Started in 42nd. A lot of spots right in front of Robbie Gordon.
He's another very good road racer.
Yes, he is. You see Kenny Wallace Then on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Takes a spot away.
Robert Presley, car number 77 right there.
Meanwhile, up front, it remains with 14 laps completed. Jeff Burton leading the Global Glen at the crossing. Bobby Labonte second, followed by Rusty Wallace, Ward Burton, and Dale Jarrett, the top 5. We'll be right back.
You said the Global Glen at the crossing.
Well, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. That's a mouthful to spit out.
Passed him the last lap.
Like Steve Park. Pressure there, huh?
Okay, good. Thank you.
Wrong audio.
16 laps now completed here at Watkins Glen International. It's Jeff Burton, followed by Bobby Labonte, then Rusty Wallace, Ward Burton, Ricky Rudd. Mark Martin has moved up to 6th, and Dale Jarrett is now back to 7th position and has been under pressure from Steve Park. And here is how Mark Martin got the position away from Dale Jarrett.
Jump down on the inside, going into the turn 1, and takes the pass.
Also, while we were away, the 93 car of Dave Blaney spun and drops back now to the 42nd and final running position on the track.
You mentioned that Dale Jarrett had dropped another spot back to the 7th position. He started on the outside of the front row. He just radioed in and told his crew chief, Todd Parrott, that his car was just a little bit tight on the right-hand turn. So they'll make an adjustment their first pit stop. And as we said, anytime after 30 laps, we should see pit stop starting under green flag conditions.
Wow, look at Park just blow by Jarrett. That Benzo Chevrolet's been back right on that back bumper for a couple of laps. He saw the moment and just blew by.
Bill Weber, Steve's got a good run going so far.
Absolutely, Bob. Good from the start. In fact, good from the time they got here this weekend. It's just that no one's really had an opportunity to see it. They felt that they would qualify in the top 5. They knew they were going to run well, or at least they hoped they would. He started back in the field, has moved his way up inside the top 10, just got around Jarrett. And you could say that this is the track that Steve Park got discovered at. He's got a lot of confidence and some experience here.
He won the pole for a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event in '96, qualifying for Nemechek, and that really opened a lot of eyes. Well, Ricky Rudd has picked up a spot, passing Ward Burton.
And Mark Martin moving in on Ward Burton. He's just slowly working his way up towards the front. Mark said yesterday he thought he had a car that could win this race, and boy, he's hanging right in there now. He's only about 2.5 seconds behind the leader. 5 cars between him and the leader.
Now Martin makes a move. Looks like he wanted to make a move to the inside of Burton, but the door slammed and Mark had to hit the brakes.
Mark's got a great run now on Ward. Looked like Ward drove away. Mark's going to try once again to outbrake the cat car. He does it.
Martin up to 5th spot now. He has the best average finish here among those with 2 or more starts in the Winston Cup Series. 5.4 average finish in his 12 starts at the Glen.
And check Steve Park out. He closes up on the back of Ward.
And Ron Fellows now sets his sights on Matt Kenseth in the battle for 12th.
Well, that's quite a run, isn't it? 40th up to 12th. 41st, actually. Here's where he really gains on these guys. Going down in turn 1. But he didn't gain enough that time to take the position away from Kenseth.
Fellows' last lap was 1:18.177, and that's just about the same as those running at the front of the field. Last lap, Jeff Burton did have the fastest lap at 1:18.914. Oh, make that Labonte with 1:18.988. And also the 28 car of
Rudd was over 119 miles an hour.
So he was the fastest.
We see back there Ricky Rudd is closed up right on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace. I think right now if you take any of those top 7 cars and put them in front, they could stay there. Pretty doggone equal. See Steve Park has been able to get by Ward Burton.
And here comes Fellows again.
Something happened to the 87 car. It looked like he was on the inside to pass these guys, but it looks like he was on the inside because he had a problem. Trying to listen to the engine, see if we can hear him miss. Hard to tell.
Okay, we have our first pit stop, John Kernan.
And Bob, P.J. Jones is in out of necessity. As you can see on the front of the car, he got into the back of Tony Stewart out there. The car was overheating somewhat, so they had to pull some tape off, try and pull it clear so they could get more air into the radiator. They changed left side tires, and he is on his way.
You know, that could work out to his advantage. He's certainly within the window now. One more pit stop will do it. He'll be out there running on the racetrack by himself.
Problem is, Ned, he just got lapped.
Uh-oh, yeah. No, that's not good.
So our second car goes a lap down. Jeff Gordon is one down, and now P.J. Jones is a lap down to the field. Top 5 with 21 laps completed. Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, and Mark Martin.
Yeah, the 87 car's got a cylinder missing. I heard him as he went by just now. Ned, as you were saying, I heard a noise and looked up and I saw the leaders go out by out the window. And I said,
good. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Because what I was about to say would have been dumb if I'd have finished it. So.
I knew where you were going.
Yeah. Thank you.
You want to leave that to me, Ned. Takes that.
He's going to be tough. That's what he is.
Good.
The global crossing at the Glen underway here at Watkins Glen International. As you can see, we've had a shuffle up front. A couple of changes. First of all, let's show you how Ricky Rudd got a position from Rusty Wallace.
Turn one, the best place to pass. Oh, this is for the lead. Oh, Bobby Labonte. I thought it was Bobby Labonte. This is Ricky Rudd getting on the inside of Rusty Wallace, and turn one has been the place to pass so far this afternoon.
And then this for the lead going into the chicane. Bobby Labonte just outbreaks Jeff Burton. Burton doesn't fight him too hard, retakes the lead.
So Bobby Labonte led the first 8 laps of this race. Jeff Burton led 14, and now Labonte is back, and Fellows goes behind the wall, John.
Bobby came into his pit. They lifted the hood, looked at the engine. You could just hear it was misfiring quite a bit. So they said, hey, it's a day. We're not running for points. So he's headed back into the garage, and we hope to have a word with Ron in just a moment.
Well, he had a good run while it lasted, but unfortunately it didn't last long enough for Ron Fellows.
I know Lillian Taylor and all the folks up at Bully Hill have to be very disappointed right now, but this is a race.
Well, now Ricky Rudd looks to the inside of Jeff Burton. Meanwhile, Mark Martin does the same to Wallace. Couldn't take over the position as Kyle Petty comes out of the pits.
And Kyle would go a lap down after making a pit stop, but others will be making a pit stop here before too long. He just hopes there's not a caution before they do.
And look at Park. Whoa. Drives up. Look, he just drives by Mark Martin. Wow.
Boy, he came up through the S's like a shot and has taken over the 5th position from Mark Martin.
Rusty Wallace right now, the 2 car, the Miller Lite car, losing contact with the top 3. Back about a 1.5 seconds behind that group. So far for Steve Park today, so far so good. Now once again, Ricky Rudd tries to outbrake Burton, can't get it done.
And Park gets around the lap car of Kyle Petty. Now, the Busch Series here, Steve Park has 1 start. That was back in 1997. He started 4th and finished in 6th position. But again, we remind you of the pole that he won here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 1996. As a result of his 16th place finish at Indianapolis last Saturday, Steve Park moved up 1 position in the point standings to 17th.
And check this out, Jerry Nadeau, damaged left front fender and all, has moved up to the 9th position.
That occurred when he got into the 40 car of Sterling Marlin in corner number 11 a few laps ago, causing Marlin to spin.
Started back in 25th position.
So that damage there apparently not affecting how the car drives.
Right here is where he had contact with Sterling Marlin a few laps ago. We'll show it to you once again.
Yeah, there you see, he tried to outbrake, started wiggling, then Sterling comes down, they make contact, and around Sterling goes.
And everybody miraculously missed him. Dale Jarrett makes a pit stop here on lap number 27.
I would say this is by design. It's certainly within the window. They will change all 4 tires.
Also make a chassis adjustment on the car. That's already been done.
And Jarrett takes the quality care service Ford Taurus back out onto the racetrack. Up front, it continues to be Bobby Labonte, but we want to check and see what happened to Ron Fellows. John?
Right now, a number of the media members covering the race this week are talking to Ron and answering his question. Ron, looked like it was going to be a good run, but what happened? An engine problem?
Yeah, we lost something under the hood. Lost a couple cylinders. It's a shame. Had really good power. Thank you, Peter. It's one of those things. It's a real shame, you know. All the guys. I mean, everybody's worked hard. We had a real good race car. We knew it coming in here, and it's just I feel bad for Bully Hill and Brian and all the guys. This is our once-a-year shot. Kind of makes last year look like it was a lot more difficult than maybe we thought.
Did it happen all at once, or did it happen over time?
Yeah, doing a second to third shift on the front straight, just under start finish, and it just something broken. And I think it probably had valve train, but
back upstairs.
So Ron Fellas is out of the race. We've already seen Dale Jarrett make a pit stop, but these cars running up toward the front of the field expected in just a few laps. So we're going to take a break with Bobby Labonte leading Burton, Rudd, Wallace, and Park with 27 of 90 laps completed at Watkins Glen International.
I guess he slid the brakes.
Good timing.
Earnhardt going a lap down. Mark that. '77 pitted. And then you're keeping all that, right?
31, 4, 33, all up front are in. Boy, Neil wishes these last 10 seconds would go quickly, doesn't he? You coming back to me or somebody down there? Those running at the front of the field are on pit road. Bobby Labonte is in. Here's Jerry Punch.
First of 2 scheduled pit stops, Bobby Labonte will get 4 tires. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in the rear tires. Bobby said the car not getting up off the corner like he would like. Right behind him, the car 99 also changing 4 tires. They're making a track bar adjustment on Jeff Burton's car. Here's Burton is away, and so is Bobby Labonte.
Now how about Steve Park? The Pennzoil Chevrolet beats all those high dollar guys off of pit road. Way to go.
Park beat Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte and everybody else off pit road. While we were in break, a couple of things happened. First of all, Dale Earnhardt went a lap down, and the more significant problem involved Rusty Wallace. Watch this.
I don't know if he got in there too hard, Ben, and locked the brakes, it looked like, and out through the sand he went. He kept the wheels turning. He wanted to keep it off of the wall, which he did, just barely, and the thing didn't sink down into the sand. He was able to get it back on the grass and get back out on the track.
Listen. Couldn't hear sand makes a noise coming up through the car, doesn't it?
Man, oh man, I tell you what, he drove it through there. But all of a sudden,
well,
thing just
there was
locks
a
up the left front brake. I don't know. I guess he got in too hot.
Boy, he does a great job of keeping that car moving, keeping it off of the styrofoam. He came in, made a pit stop, back out there running.
Mark Martin has completed his pit stop. He led for 2 laps, but now pits and goes back out onto the racetrack. Comes out with Dale Jarrett.
Dale Jarrett, 88 car. They made some chassis adjustments during his pit stops. We'll see how that works out.
Now, some have not made pit stops, but when everybody does, when the cycle is completed, Steve Park is going to be the leader of this race.
How about that? Those guys did a fantastic job on that pit stop.
They really did.
Burton second, then comes Labonte and Ricky Rudd.
Of course, Matt Kenseth and Chad Little apparently have not made pit stops yet. And Tony Stewart, he made a pit stop during the early caution, so he could run a few laps longer.
Well, now our scoring updates, and it shows that Darrell Waltrip is among the final ones to come in for a pit stop, and so that does give the lead to Steve Park.
Uh-oh. Front tire changer tripped over the air hose. That's going to cost a little bit of time.
Slowed the jackman down, getting around there.
And look at the brake dust off this car.
Yeah. Well, here's a crew cam. Mike Smith on the 21 team.
He takes the tire off, and Troy Prince, the tire carrier, throws it on. They go around the left side. Mike, lug nuts off. Oh, where's it? What happened? Okay, finally the jack goes up. Troy throws the tire on. He was waiting on the jack all that time for the thing to go up so he could take the tire off.
And it didn't seem like very long, but those 2-3 seconds are very, very important on the racetrack. Bill Weber has a report on Steve Park, who's leading.
And just a very impressive day all around for Park on the track and for his crew in the pits. The stop 16.21. Nearly a disaster though for Park. He was supposed to pit the lap before, but he went right by Rusty Wallace when Rusty went through the sand. They told him pit, but his instinct was to just keep going, stay away from the car in trouble. They were concerned about a caution coming out for Rusty getting stuck in the sand. It didn't happen. They had a great stop. Paul Andrews said this team is on a mission. Remember, they race in the shadow of Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. They'd like to race out of that shadow.
Steve Park is leading his first Winston Cup laps on a road course. This is the 6th race that he has led overall, and the first since California.
About to put Jeffrey Bodine a lap down. Bodine is running in the 40th position, so that leaves 39 cars on the lead lap.
Bodine, of course, from nearby Chemung, New York. Crew chief this week on the 60 car is Garth Finley, substituting for Jim Long, who is not here this weekend for personal reasons. The last time that Jeffrey Bodine won a NASCAR Winston Cup race was here at the Glen in '96. See the rest of the field coming through. There's Hornaday and Mike Skinner, Robbie Gordon, Wally Dallenbach, Chad Little. These cars running about 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th on back. Steve Park, 3 laps now. He has been out in front of the global crossing at the Glen. So Steve Park leads Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Ricky Rudd, and Ward Burton with 33 of 90 laps completed. We'll be right back. How many spotters they use here, Ned?
Rear, I believe.
2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3. And I'm sure some 2 and some 3. That 25 car is fast.
Yeah, they do.
They change front to rear. Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day who I thought would be the next first-time winner.
25.
Been running really well recently.
So what? Who's calling? By the way, the 25 car changed 4 tires.
I would say 4 because he He came out about where he was. He's just running faster. He's been running. Of course, that lap he wasn't, but a moment ago he was on the car with 120.
About to take third here. At Watkins Glen, the car on the move is the 25 of Jerry Nadeau. He just took over the third position from Bobby Labonte.
And that's after starting in the 25th spot. Now, they had a caution flag early on after the first couple of laps that helped him a little bit after he passed a few cars. But basically, he's passed about probably 15 cars. We see him smoke that right front going down to turn 1.
Jerry Nadeau has 5 career top 10s, and 3 of those have come in the last 10 races. Here's the move that Nadeau made a lap ago on Ricky Rudd, headed for turn number 1.
And then it didn't wait too long to move into third as he got on the inside of Bobby Labonte. Takes over that position.
And we have some cars off course. We understand the 31 and the 8. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 31 also involved, and the caution is out for the second time here at Watkins Glen.
Wonder if that car won't fire, or he seems to be, well, he's going to get out of it.
Taking the window net off.
Yeah. Didn't look like there was that much damage done from the left side.
I think there's a lot of damage done to the right front, Ned. It looked like the right front was a little low.
Watch the top of the screen here. The car's coming up through the S's, and oh, there's Earnhardt Jr.
This goes around, backs her in the fence, and brings, I guess most of the damage is to the right rear.
I wonder if maybe he had an engine problem. And Skinner then slid in there. John?
But, Ned, I just talked to his crew, and they said that Junior was having problems shifting, and apparently something with the transmission happened, and that is what caused him to miss a gear or put it in too low a gear and for the car to spin out on him. They said it's a problem with the transmission for him. So right now they're talking about what to do, and I guess they're going to head back to the garage and try and fix the car there once the car returns to this area.
My guess is that Mike Skinner, either the spotter told him or, let's listen.
You wonder if something did happen to the transmission, maybe it lost some fluid, and Skinner might have gotten into that. I don't know. He's looking under there. Did something lock up on this car? Or maybe just looking at how much damage is done to it there. But
well, that's the second time that he has crashed this weekend in 2 different cars. It was his first Winston Cup race here at Watkins Glen. He did win a Busch race here in 1999, and his father is also on pit road.
And he has managed to stay on the lead lap.
Well, he got back on the lead lap when everybody pitted. We saw him go a lap down, but when everybody pitted, that put Earnhardt back on the lead lap.
Jerry?
Exactly, Ned. That was a break for him, but it wasn't a break for his son, because they was actually going to pit the last time by when the 8 car spun. The spotter said, stay out, stay out, stay out. And by staying out, he's able to get back on the lead lap. So now they have time to look underneath the back of the car. Earnhardt has complained that the sway bar is broken. Remember from that incident on lap number 2. They're going to get all 4 tires changed. They'll get him back out to catch up with the field and probably consider coming back in to try to rehook up the rear sway bar. He said he simply can't drive the car. They finish with the service. They'll send him back out to catch up with the field, come back in just a moment, and jack it up and look at that rear sway bar. So a break for Earnhardt 2 different ways. He stays on the lead lap, and he has time to come possibly fix that rear sway bar.
But it's a result of a bad break for son Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he has crashed up in the S's on the 35th lap of the race. So the cleanup is underway there where the accident occurred. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the victim of his second crash here at Watkins Glen this weekend. We've completed 36 laps now. Steve Park leads Jeff Burton, Jerry Nadeau, Bobby Labonte, and Ricky Rudd.
Neil,
about that.
Neil, just before the car spun, it sounded like when he shifted that the engine revved. It sounded like the engine, like he missed a shift. Yeah, listen. No, back it up. Back it up. Back it up a little bit more, Mr. B.
Okay. You want that chair, Leon?
Whose motor died?
21.
I think all of them running overdrive transmissions, and they ain't got no first gear to get out of the pits with. I know it's DJ a while ago when you left the pits. Just all they could do to get it.
We are doing billboards, though, right? ESPN's coverage of the global crossing of the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race is being brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One. And by Exide NASCAR Select, the official automotive battery of NASCAR. We're under our second full course caution. 37 laps have been completed. This caution because of an accident up in the S's involving Dale Earnhardt Jr. Mike Skinner also spun behind him. And we're going to do the replay once again of his onboard camera and listen and see if we can hear something. Benny?
Yeah, there was something, well, that was way back before he got to the turn, and that might have been when he would have been going into high gear, Benny, or fourth gear. But
yeah, he had something bad.
Yeah, it was not right. Don't know what was wrong, but something was not right about all of that.
And that explains why Dale Earnhardt Jr. got out of the car so quickly, because he realized he did not want to start it because there was something else wrong with the car. He needed to get it on the record and get it back to the pits.
Qualifying was rained out here, so they lined up by points. Bobby Labonte is the Bud Pole Award winner. He already has a Bud Pole this year, so he has already qualified for the 2001 Bud Shootout at Daytona. There you see the other drivers that are qualified so far this year for the race in February of next year.
And you see, folks, that the cars did not pit. Here at the road course, when it takes so long for these cars to go around the racetrack, you want to pit on the green flag and stay on the racetrack during the caution flags.
Down to Jerry Punch.
Here in the Ricky Rudd pit, Doug Yates and the crew were up on the wall. They were going to bring Ricky in to change the carburetor. I have a crew member standing here with the carburetor in his hand because the car was sputtering and the fuel pressure was fluctuating. But unfortunately, we're going to get the green flag. They're still discussing whether they should go ahead and bring him in now anyway and get the carburetor changed in case it gets worse and worse and he slows down and even stops over there. But they're coming to the green flag, and he is going to follow him down and not come down pit road. Bob?
Steve Park leads the others down to the green flag. Now, Jeff Gordon there on the left of your screen is trying to get a lap back, and so is Jeffrey Bodine. Jerry Nadeau, meanwhile, goes to second, passing Jeff Burton. John Kernan is with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Dale Jr.'s crew is working on the car, trying to get a new transmission put in, a new rear gear. Dale, we can hear on your in-car camera that you were having problems with the transmission even before the spin. So what happened?
The car wasn't shifting in the third gear at all, and it just every lap it'd be worse and worse and worse, and wouldn't shift and wouldn't shift. And finally, the linkage broke, and for third and fourth gear and didn't have third and fourth gear, and when the linkage broke and went down, hit the ground, and knocked the car in reverse over there. Coming up through the inner loop, locked the rear end up, spun the car around and tore through. Bent the clip on the car, probably bent the front clip too. It's a shame. We changed transmissions this morning. Probably shouldn't have now.
All right, back upstairs, Dale Jr. waiting as his team works on the car.
Another crash. Kyle Petty has taken his car into the styrofoam, and the caution is going to come out once again. And the black flag is also being displayed. That was for Jeff Gordon.
I guess he's saying he jumped the restart.
Well, I saw him pass a lot of cars to get up towards the front before they got the green flag. Now, we mentioned earlier that all restarts would be single file restarts. And I don't know if Jeff thought, well, maybe I can go up there and get up beside of the leader since I was a lap down, but it doesn't work on a road course.
Let's take a look at what happened to Kyle Petty running alongside
Kenny Wallace. And it looks like he just got too high coming through the carousel. And here's exactly where Rusty Wallace crashed yesterday, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. wrecked yesterday. Boom, right there.
Jerry is in the Ricky Rudd pit.
This caution, a good break for Ricky Rudd. I mentioned a moment ago they wanted to change the carburetor. They're having quickie yellows here. They mentioned in the driver's meeting they're going to get as much green flag racing as possible. The caution comes back out, and now Rudd is on pit road. Doug Yates with his back to you with that big Texaco star on his uniform. He is the one basically spearheading this. Or Doug actually across the car. He lifts the carburetor out. They have another carburetor to put in place. Once again, Rudd had complained the car was sputtering and missing, and the fuel pressure gauge was fluctuating. Ricky Rudd, a two-time winner here at Watkins Glen on pit road. He was being shown in 5th position. Now the consideration is we got a spotter telling them where the field is. They're hustling to get the carburetor dialed back. Remember, he can't just crank it up and leave. Now they got to get this thing back in position. Without a carburetor, he can't go anywhere. Trying to get it nice and tight. They got an air cleaner they're going to try to put on. They got a spacer to put on beneath the air cleaner. Once again, trying to get some of the fuel hoses hooked up. The spotter is talking to the crew. They're listening as the leaders are in the inner loop in the back straightaway. They know they've got about 35 to 40 seconds maybe from right now to get the car. The car has fired. That's the good news. Now they shut it off long enough to get the air cleaner on. Quick work here. Ricky Rudd has a very fast race car, comfortable with the chassis, but it was sputtering and missing. And in spite of the fact that it was missing, he was still running 5th. This could be an omen. If this car runs at full song, he could be a contender to win it here today. Breather goes on, hood goes down. The Texaco crew has changed the carburetor on the two-time Watkins Glen winner.
This is the car that he drove last year as the number 10 car. It was one that was bought by Robert Yates from Ricky when he came over to the team. Now they're changing tires, and this is getting pretty close because the field is in turn number 10 now.
Well, I think they've got plenty of time, really.
Yeah, I think they have plenty of time.
And see, Jerry Nadeau, he was 2nd spot, and now he is back to the 4th spot. And we saw him slow down this short chute before. I don't know exactly what might have happened to his car.
You can see also that Mike Skinner is on pit road with the hood up, and Dale Earnhardt.
Ricky Rudd will be in 35th position. That's how many cars are on the lead lap.
You know, I was talking about Jerry Nadeau slow, and watch, he comes off the corner in 2nd spot, just moves over to the left side of the road to get out of these cars' way, and 2 cars go by. Bill Weber, what's going on with Nadeau?
The problem there, Benny, is Jerry has lost 3rd gear. He just radioed in, he has lost 3rd gear. Let me show you another problem that he had earlier in the race. This is the set of tires they took off during his first pit stop. I want to show you the inside of the right front tire. These are the wear pins. You can see on the outside of the right front tire, you can still measure the tread depth. Over here, the 2 wear pins are gone, and here they are down to the core. This tire could not have gone many more laps. They told Jerry he's extremely fast, but he has to be careful of his tire, and now he does not have 3rd gear. As a side note to that, they also told Steve Park, his crew, that Nadeau is a very fast car. We'll have to wait and see what happens now without 3rd gear.
Now there is a classic example of camber and what he can do. Just too much camber wore the tire out on the inside.
Under caution here at Watkins Glen, Steve Park leads Jeff Burton with 40 of 90 laps completed. you, Matt.
See you, Matt.
We're getting close to the halfway of this thing.
Yes, we are.
That's a good thing.
What time we schedule off there?
3 o'clock.
Are we ready?
That's what I heard. I thought it would be at least a 3-hour show.
What time we schedule off there, Neil?
Same transmission we had yesterday in happy hour.
Okay.
Brand new transmission.
So I guess Jeff went in to heed the caution flag.
Motor says about 11,000 RPMs. I'm sure we probably heard something there.
Okay.
I guess Jeff did hit the wall over there, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he might have just hit the curb.
Boom, there he hit it.
I'm pulling it back into fourth gear just to make sure it works, just in case maybe it's a lever or something. It ain't nothing,
Okay.
guys. I'm telling you, it's broke. When it went in, it shattered.
Okay.
I heard it. There ain't nothing there. The linkage is fine.
Back at Watkins Glen, where we remain under caution, Steve Park is the leader of this race over Jeff Burton and Ward Burton. Now, let's update Jeff Gordon. Remember his problems going for his 7th consecutive road course victory. His problems began on lap 2 with Tony Stewart. Now, they had a bumping there in turn number 2. They came up the S's side by side, and then when they get to the top of the hill, they really have a coming together that put Gordon into the guardrail there at the top of the S's. Here's his contact with Stewart, and there is where he hit the guardrail on the right side of the car. He came in, they peeled away some of the sheet metal. He did lose a lap while he was in the pits. Jerry has a further update.
Well, they came in a moment ago, Bob, and topped it off with fuel, but they can't fix much on the car. They know that the front end is towed out. The steering wheel is actually moved to the right about 3 inches, but the rear panhard bar, as one crew member quoted, looks like a pretzel. The rear panhard bar, rear sway bar, is actually rubbing the fuel cell, not doing much to help the back of the car, so the car isn't driving very well. That's why we're not seeing Gordon make a move toward the front. As Jerry Nadeau once again makes a quick stop. Tough break for there as Nadeau, the teammate for Jeff Gordon, on pit road in the car number 25. He brings the Michael Holligan car down, where he had his best finish here a year ago, a 5th place finish, as they will change the outside tires.
I'm really shocked as to why they are pitting now.
Well, Jerry Nadeau is here on pit road. This is a routine change.
Back to the right side when you guys get through and look up underneath first.
Yeah, you can hear Tony Furr on the radio. They wanted to get a look
at.
at.
Go back to the right side, Joe. Jack it up. Let's see.
They want to see if they can see something wrong with the transmission leverage.
Because he doesn't have 3rd gear, right? And he just said, I want to be out there when they go green. I don't want to be sitting here. This is a terrible break for these guys. We told you how well they'd been running. They came in here with a lot of confidence. And now they're going to send Nadeau out, and we'll find out what they found out and relay it back upstairs.
Well, he was at the front of the field, but he is now way back in the pack.
Well, we saw Mike Skinner spin over there a little bit earlier when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had his problem. He's now being shown 3 laps down, so he's working on his car somewhere. So bad day for Mike Skinner.
The 34 car of Todd Bodine is also out of this race, and we're nearing the halfway point. 41 of 90 laps completed. We'll take another break and be right back.
Skinner's been on pit road.
Oh, is that where he is?
Yeah, he was. He's not there now, but he's been sitting on pit road for.
Just as you rejoin us, the race goes green once again, and look at them fan out on the front straightaway as they hustle down into turn number 1. That's Ron Hornaday and Robbie Gordon to the inside of Rusty Wallace.
Boy, it's hard to out-jump him on a restart, but both of them did it.
Moved into the 8th and 9th position, puts Rusty back to the 10th spot.
And another driver who began his racing career for the most part on road courses in Trans Am, Wally Dallenbach, now right behind Rusty Wallace.
In 11th position. Wally having a good run here today. Some of his better runs have come here.
Dave Blaney once again gets the tires off the course.
He is a lap down. Back in 37th position. Jeffrey Bodine hanging up there tight behind Steve Park. We'd like to see Park make a little bit of a slip so he can get back in front of him and get his lap back.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 car trying to look on the inside of Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, Robbie Gordon really working on Ron Hornaday.
Down to Jerry Punch for a pit update.
We told you Ricky Rudd was running 5th when he came down pit road under the caution to change a carburetor for a sputtering problem and a miss. They have found a clogged fuel filter. Ricky Rudd restarted a moment ago in 33rd position. Remember that. 33rd spot. He restarted, but the car's running well now. So watch him make his way through the field. Bill Weber?
Well, Jerry, they brought Jerry Nadeau down pit road for exactly what we thought, to see if they could somehow help his transmission problem. They couldn't. They want to see if it was something they could fix on pit road. He definitely doesn't have 3rd gear. He's got 4 tires and a full load of fuel. Now they need, obviously, a miracle as far as the cautions are concerned. I just ran down pit road. I asked Jerry's teammate, Terry Labonte, who's sitting out this race, how often he uses 3rd gear here. He said, judging it by driving the course in his head, he uses it 3 times at very critical junctures on the racetrack. John Kernan.
Wally Dallenbach started 35th, has had some of his better runs here, as Ned said. In fact, he may have won a couple races here if things had worked out in his favor. But I talked to his crew chief, Newton Moore. He says that the car has been neutral the entire race. They haven't touched anything. All they've done is put tires on it and add fuel as he tries to chase down Rusty Wallace to grab another position. But they seem to be pretty pleased with everything, as Wally's made up some 24 spots out there on the racetrack.
Rusty in 11th, Dallenbach in 12th. They have been racing close for the last few laps. Meanwhile, everybody trying now to get around the Jeffrey Bodine car up front.
And Mark Martin just did. He passed Bobby Labonte the last time going into turn 1 and took over the 4th position, drops Labonte back to the 5th place.
And the last lap by Mark Martin was the fastest car of those in the top 6.
Right behind Dale Jarrett in the 33 car, running in 7th position, is Joe Nemechek.
Having a good run here today.
His best road course finish was 8th here at the Glen in '96. And once again, Dallenbach is all over Rusty Wallace.
Down the short chute. Like a left-hander. This is where Rusty had his problem, so we know he's going to probably back off a little early. Nevertheless, Dallenbach not able to gain anything.
And as the cars hit the line, crossed flags are displayed from the NASCAR starter stand, and we have completed half distance. Steve Park has gained 17 positions since the drop of the green flag. Gordon up 33, Dallenbach up 23. Mike Bliss has bettered his starting position by 22, and Rick Mast has moved up 15 spots.
Dallenbach, car number 75, still working on Rusty. Now, the last time when he went into the inner loop here, he really got all over Rusty. Let's see if he does it again. Well, no, didn't get quite as tight on him.
Dallenbach finished 2nd here in 1995. 5 of his 6 Winston Cup top 5 finishes have been on road courses. Steve Park has now led the most laps so far. He has led 15 circuits. Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton have both led 14, and Mark Martin has been out front for 2 laps.
So Robbie Gordon has moved by Ron Hornaday to get into the 8th position. Jeff Burton is closed up right on the back bumper of Steve Park. And Burton last time on a half mile per hour faster than Steve Park.
Steve Park began his NASCAR Winston Cup career here at Watkins Glen in 1997. He finished 33rd in that race. There's Tony Stewart. Here comes Schrader and a whole bunch of others right behind him, including Jimmy Spencer and Bill Elliott, and up ahead of Bill is Bobby Hamilton. There was some thought last night after happy hour when Boris said practice Jimmy Spencer's car that Boris would get in it, but we've seen no evidence of that.
No, I don't think Jimmy's going to jump out of the car if he feels okay. And when I talked to him this morning, it looked like he felt okay to me.
Probably let Boris in to see, hey, is this car set up good for a road course? Because Boris said would certainly know, and he did turn some good laps in it.
Spencer is doing fine, running in the 19th spot.
Bill Elliott gets a great run on Hamilton, but Hamilton drives on the inside trying to outbrake Spencer, and looks like that'll succeed.
Now Elliott will look to the inside of Jimmy as they head up through the S's, but will not make a move.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is back on the track after repairing damage to his car.
He's about 11 laps down. Bill Elliott trying to make a move on Jimmy Spencer.
Ooh, couldn't quite make it as Ricky Rudd, after starting back in 33rd spot, as Jerry Punch told you, now he's trying to take over the 27th spot.
Steve Park completes another lap out front, but he has Jeff Burton right on his rear spoiler, and Mark Martin looks to the inside of Ward Burton and into turn number 1, takes over 3rd position. So make it Park, Burton. Now Mark Martin is 3rd, followed by Ward Burton and Bobby Labonte.
I don't know either. I responded because he did drive the car, but I didn't know about the rookie deal.
Who, Lynn?
The Boris, would he be eligible because he's a rookie?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess nobody ate his brownies, huh?
Guess not. I hope that last lap those guys running 120 miles an hour.
Oh, hey, Boris did relief driving for Jimmy Spencer here last year, and he got in the car yesterday. I believe y'all reported on Happy Hour that he did it to put his setup in it or help come up with the setup for Jimmy.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. Just
yeah, but he could if he wanted to because he did it last year.
Okay. Steve Park that lap ran 120.2.
Wow. Hey, these tires just aren't slowing down.
Oh.
Okay.
X Game 6, San Francisco. Coverage begins August 19th on ABC and August 20th on ESPN.
Once again, the city by the bay hosting the X Games starting August the 19th on ABC and continuing on ESPN and ESPN2. Well, here at Watkins Glen International in central New York, we have completed 50 of 90 laps. The leader is Steve Park. Running in second position is Jeff Burton, then Mark Martin, and we're on board with Ward Burton. And we understand that Jerry Nadeau drove through the loop, so he's going to get a stop and go, and he is heeding the penalty in a tough break for Jerry.
Well, he might have been coming in the pits anyway. You wonder if he's coming into the pits right now, heeding the penalty, or either planning to come in anyway.
Maybe the official waved him on. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, he drives through the pits and goes back out onto the racetrack. Bill, what's going on?
He was supposed to be headed to the garage, Bob, because that transmission is they just can't race with it anymore. So they had sent their crew to the garage. And we sent Kerner to the garage to talk to him, but Nadeau came down pit road. I think what happened is he missed the turn to the garage, and then was going to come to his pit, and then he missed his pit, so now he's going to make a lap and go to the garage. So tell John to hang on.
Right now, we have only 3 cars out of the race. Kyle Petty is out, so is Todd Bodine and Rod Fellows. Everybody else is still running. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 13 laps down. Mike Skinner is 3 laps down. Jeffrey Bodine, Jeff Gordon, and Dave Blaney are a lap down. The other 35 cars are on the lead lap. And now, looks like Park has a little bit of breathing room.
He's picked up just a little bit on Gordon. I mean on Park.
You saw Mark Martin pass Ward Burton for 3rd position just a few laps ago, but still Ward is having a good race running in 4th spot.
Bobby Labonte beginning to move in a little bit on him, but no real pressure there yet.
In the first 14 races of 2000, Ward had only 1 finish worse than 17th, and he has 5 finishes worse than 17th in the past 6 races, so maybe this will change his bad luck around.
See all the cars go by. Back in the 14th position, there's Tony Stewart, the Home Depot Pontiac. And Tony Stewart was touted to be one of the best cars here today, but he had a problem on the 2nd lap with Jeff Gordon. They made some contact. You see the right side of his car, how beat up and banged up it is. And I would guess right now that his car, kind of like Jeff Gordon, just isn't driving that well.
Although he has managed to stay on the lead lap, and as you say, in 14th position.
Ahead of him, the 27 car of Mike Bliss started back in 37th position, so Mike Bliss is doing well.
Having a good run.
His career best finish in his 18 races to date has been at Sears Point, where he finished in 22nd spot. Mike is involved, of course, in the very bestest Rookie of the Year race. Just ahead of Mike, the battle between the 75 of Wally Dallenbach and the 5 of Ron Hornaday continues, and Wally can't pass him.
See Rusty Wallace there. He's back in 12th position. I don't think his car is as good after he went through that sand as it was before.
See Mike Bliss right behind Rusty Wallace, giving him all he wants. As Dallenbach now has a great run on Hornaday, trying to drive out, braking going into the inner loop. Looks like that's going to happen. And Rusty Wallace loses another spot to Mike Bliss in the Viagra car.
That's going to move Wally Dallenbach up into the top 10. Hornaday is in 11th, and then Mike Bliss running in the 12th position on board with Rusty Wallace there in 13th.
Now we see Tony Stewart moving up on Rusty Wallace. Both of them in injured cars.
Chad Little and John Andretti behind that group. Chad is 15th and John is running in the 16th spot. Andretti also trying to turn his season around at Indianapolis. He finished in 42nd position. The race before that, he finished 41st, and then he finished 40th the race before that in New Hampshire. And Bliss tried to pass Ron Hornaday, but didn't get the job done.
He almost got it done, although kind of like horseshoes and hand grenades. Close, don't count.
I mentioned Mike Skinner a while back. He is back out on the racetrack running. He is 3 laps down.
Off of corner number 9, down the short stretch goes leader Steve Park, pursued by Jeff Burton, but about a second separates them right now. And then back here to the 4th place car of Ward Burton. And he has them stacked up behind him, including the 33 of Joe Nemechek and Robbie Gordon.
See, Mike Bliss got by Ron Hornaday to take over the 11th position. Uh-oh, Spencer is doing some donuts in the grass.
But we'll get it back on course, and we will not have a caution.
That's going to put him all the way back at the tail end of the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt just went past him there. Dale was in 34th position, and he was the last car on the lead lap.
There's some damage to the door on the 26 car, the big Kmart car. And I saw Jimmy weaving back and forth like he's trying to figure out if he had a flat tire or not.
He's going to stay on course. Look way at the back up at the top of your screen.
He might have got into, was it a red car there? A bright colored car. Looked like they were very close, at least.
Let's check it out. Yeah. There was a, that's Ricky Rudd.
Yep, might have been some contact between those cars.
Boy, he sent a pylon scattering, did some damage to the front end of Rudd's car, and
so he was running in the 21st position when that happened. Now he is in 34th position.
Down to the pits come several cars. Jerry Pudge.
With lap 55 now clicking by, the window is opening. Now these guys can make their final pit stop and make it the rest of the way. We told you they could make it on 35, 36 laps. Jeff Burton will come down pit road with the Exide Ford. Keep an eye on his massive jack band, 6'5", 280-pound Chuck White, who wheels that 40-pound jack like it's a tennis racket. They're going to put an air pressure up in the rear tires. Jeff said the car will not turn. He was running quick laps, but it would not turn. Now right side tires going on, the Exide Ford. And he is down and away. Great pit stop for the Exide crew, and Burton is away.
Just ahead of Mark Martin off pit road. Down to Bill Weber.
Bill Elliott on pit road, left side tires, got the fuel, he's on his way. So Elliott's got himself 4 fresh tires and returns to the track.
Like he had to wait to get Bill Elliott's car full of fuel. Really a shock.
Coming off of an excellent finish at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway last Saturday. Bill Elliott started 7th, finished 3rd. Steve Park now relinquishes the lead to make his, what presumably may be his final pit stop. Comes on lap number 58, Bill.
They had an outstanding pit stop last time. Going to see what happens here. This is 4 tires only and fuel for Park. They didn't do any special training in their 2 pit stop practices this week. Everyone in the same position. Park ready. And another good stop as he spins the tires. Do they say 15.4 or 16.4, Benny?
15.4, Bill.
Tommy Baldwin and the Caterpillar crew now making the final pit stop, and the NASCAR official saying, no, no, no. We got a problem with the left rear tire. They're going to call Ward Burton back in. Apparently the official was pointing to the left rear. Tommy Baldwin trying to plead his case with the NASCAR official, very animated, saying, no, I got the lug nuts on, but he is pointing to the ground, and that can be very costly for Ward Burton.
Tommy said, I've got 5. I put 5 on it. Please, man, I put 5 on it. I'm telling you.
Pleading his case with the NASCAR official.
And now Bobby
Yep, coming in. Jerry Punch, he's headed toward you.
Bobby Labonte has been loose entering the corners and loose off. The crew said, when you come back in, we're going to go back up on the rear air pressure. We'll make an adjustment possibly on the track bar. Bobby's car has been the worst it had been all day long. That's why he had lost a couple of spots, back to running in 5th spot. Now the current Winston Cup points leader comes in. This crew now have practiced 4 times this week, changing tires with the right side of the car toward the pit wall. Jeff Chandler chases an rear tire now to the right side of the car. Fuel going in, 1 pump, 2 pumps. Chandler puts the right front tire on. The jack is pulled. He is down and away. Bobby Labonte has made his final pit stop of the day.
That was 17.2 seconds. You'll also see Tony Stewart and Mike Bliss coming back out onto the racetrack. 43 of John Andretti will get a black flag for running through the inner loop. A flurry of activity here as pit stops are being made. The 13 car, Robbie Gordon, is being shown as the leader right now, followed by Wally Dallenbach. We'll take a break and be back with more Global Crossing at the Glen from Watkins Glen. Okay.
Something wrong with Andretti's car. Man, I'm telling you, he's had some tough times.
Sure is.
Is that 13 car leaving the pits?
Yeah. He gave up the lead to Wally, who's leading for the first time since Talladega last October.
I thought Elliott did something amiss. Did the 75 did? Yeah. Did the 22 car come back in?
No. No, he has not come back in.
Oh, I guess they have.
DJ just passed him this last lap going down to turn 1.
I guess he won the
So, yeah.
That guy standing there looking straight at him. You'd think that he'd.
Yeah. Yep. Wave, guys. I'm going to change channels.
That won't show anything. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
So Rudd is in the lead, eh? Well, the discussion continues down to the Ward-Burton pit. And it's getting quite heated down there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They have gone to the overhead camera that most of these teams have on pit road. The team's overhead camera, and they put it in they've replayed it, showed it to the official, and he still insists that there's something amiss, and Tommy Baldwin is arguing his case as hard as he possibly can.
Ward has not come in for a second time.
He's being shown right now in 10th position. There's still several cars that have not made pit stops.
Ricky Rudd shown as the leader of the race right now. Now, while we were away, Robbie Gordon led a lap and Wally Dallenbach led 3 laps. The first time that Wally has led a Winston Cup race since October last year at Talladega.
Sorry, Bob, a Husqvarna onboard camera. Ward Burton comes along, shifts gears. Brian Dehart, official on the left, talking to the official that's made the decision.
Somebody, Mike Bliss, I believe, is just blown going down the front straightaway here.
Big plume of smoke out of the 27 Viagra Pontiac, and he's going to pull off course.
And he's going to stop there, so they'll have to throw the caution.
Yep. There it is.
Oh, there's a lot of oil on the racetrack, just a tremendous amount of oil.
So Tommy is still pleading with that NASCAR official.
Well, he doesn't want to make a pit stop even under caution.
Right.
No, that's because he would have been bad enough under green, but under caution it also would be devastating because it would put him way back in the field.
Jerry Nadeau had a great run, John.
That's right, Bob. He was running great out there. A lot of people thought that he might be the person to break Jeff Gordon's streak today and pick up his first Winston Cup win. But, Jerry, you're back here in the garage. Transmission problem?
Yeah, ever since the start of the race, every time I went into third gear, it kept clunking, kept making a lot of noise going into third. And finally, coming off the inner loop, going into 5, I went into third, and it just shattered. I mean, it broke. So obviously there was something wrong with the gear itself. I don't know, one of those deals. I mean, it's too bad. The guys did a good job all day long. The MikeMulligan.com car ran great. We came all the way up to second. We had the car to beat today, and just too bad it didn't work out.
Jerry Nadeau sitting here watching as his crew puts in a new transmission, a new drive shaft, and also I believe a new rear end gear too, and he'll get back out and try and make some laps.
Well, his finishing position at this race will in no way indicate how well he ran during the time that he was out there. And Mike Bliss also did.
Yes, he had a very good run going here today, one of the best of the year for that car, and now it looks like he's going to be out of it.
Caution is out with 62 out of 90 laps completed. Rudd is the leader. Black flag, Spencer, looks like.
So they got to stop. Yeah, the 28, and the 3, and the 21, 0-1, all got to stop. But this is a tremendous break for the 0-1 because he was a lap down at one time.
Ooh, that's right there. What's he cooking, BP?
Hot dogs, eh? Yeah, I do. I did hear you, yeah.
Those don't look like hot dogs to me.
Potatoes. Tomatoes.
Onion, maybe. Bell pepper. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International. NASCAR Winston Cup racing for you on this Sunday afternoon. We've completed 62 of the 90 laps here at Watkins Glen, and we're seeing a lot of pit stops now being made under this caution. There is the 28 car of Ricky Rudd. He was in the lead. He gives it up, however. Elliott Sadler was shown in second position. He is also on pit road. John?
And Elliott Sadler is in for a 4-tire change and also a track bar adjustment and a wedge adjustment to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Your Rudd, final pit stop for Rudd. Remember, he changed the carburetor. They had a clogged oil or gas fuel filter. Now right side tires going on Ricky Rudd's car. They clean the windshield. Trouble a little bit with the right front. They finally get the right front back on, and Rudd is down the way. Bill Weber?
Well, John Andretti sits on pit road. The hood has gone back up, but that's really not the primary problem. They're having a braking problem with that car. In fact, they broke the right rear caliper, and that's why the hood was up earlier, so they could add brake fluid. He's back on pit road, a car on the jack. They continue to work on the 43 car. Disappointing day for John Andretti. He'll have a bad finish.
4 DNFs in the last 5 races for John Andretti.
Oh, he's had a tough season.
Now the 22 car, NASCAR officials had decided to be fair about this. Tommy Baldwin insisted he had 5 lug nuts on that left rear. They're going to bring the 22 cat car in. If in fact he has the 5 lug nuts, as Tommy Baldwin says, he's able to go back right on the racetrack right behind Dale Jarrett. If not, in the 8th position. If not, he'll have to go back to the end of the line, where he would be if he were black flag.
We have NASCAR Winston Cup racing here later this afternoon. Michael Andretti is the car points leader, and he's a 2-time winner in Mid-Ohio. His rival all season long has been Juan Montoya, who nipped Andretti at the line in Michigan by 0.04 of a second. And later today, they're going to face off on the road course at Mid-Ohio, where Juan Montoya is the defending champion. That's on ABC at 4 o'clock Eastern Time this afternoon. Jerry, what's going on in the 22 pit?
Well, as you heard Benny explain a moment ago, what they did is they're telling Tommy Baldwin, you bring the car in, you're going to require to bring the car in. We're going to look at that left rear tire. If the lug nut is missing, then you make your pit stop and you go back to the end of the longest line. If it's not missing, we're going to give you your spot back. But if you come in and the lug nut is on, you can't touch the car. You can't change anything. So that's the deal. And we'll know by what the crew does when he comes in just a moment. If the lug nut is on, they won't be able to touch the car. They'll have to send him back out to his original spot. If it's missing, they'll change tires, and we'll know that the NASCAR official was indeed correct.
That's a fair deal.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yep. Because they can't come in and change 4 tires and go back out to 8th spot, because you'd have an advantage over the rest of the competitors.
Sure. Yep, I think that's a good, fair way to do it.
So we'll see who was right and who was wrong here in just a few moments.
Actually, after others made pit stops, he's sitting in the 5th position.
The guy that might get lucky on this restart, that he has stayed on the racetrack, they're still trying, is Jeff Gordon's crew. He is now on the tail end of the lead lap. But he's in front of the leader right now, in front of Steve Park. I'm sure he'll stay out there, try to stay in front of Park, hope that a caution flag comes back out. He can go back and get in the lead lap. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
And Benny, the spotters and the drivers from the 1 team and the 24 team have talked that over. And they know what Steve Park's situation is going for his first Winston Cup win. They also know how desperately Gordon would like to get back on the lead lap. They will work it out so they don't get into each other's way here. That Gordon will not hold up the leader, but then again, Park may return that favor and give Gordon his lap back if the caution should come back out. So the 2 spotters and the drivers have relayed messages through each other.
All right, the 22 car stayed on the racetrack, so the NASCAR official put the black flag out for him. On pit road, the 2 NASCAR officials are sitting there waiting for the 22 to come in. He decided not to come down pit road, but he was black flagged by the flag.
Wow, that could be a big mistake there by not coming in with the deal that was made.
Well, whenever we come to Watkins Glen, we think of one particular driver who had a great run here a few years ago. In fact, on this date, on August 13th, we remember Tim Richmond especially. Now, when NASCAR returned here in 1986, Tim sat on the pole and won the event in dominating fashion. Tim died 11 years ago today, and he remains a person we remember with great admiration. We'll return to Watkins Glen International in a moment.
They give him 1 to go, and he's black flag.
That was really dumb, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't he heed that flag, Bill, or whoever's down there?
Well, he wasn't black flag.
Well, no, I mean, why didn't he
come in
before black flag?
I got one. I got good. They're not good. They're not good. What are we going to do?
Yeah, they're going to hold him off and blow the racetrack off. What they have told Tommy Baldwin is no crew members can go over the wall until the car comes to a stop and the NASCAR official leans in and looks to make sure the lug nut is there or isn't there. And he'll signal them that they can come over and do whatever, but they can't come across until they get signaled by the NASCAR official.
Got 3 officials.
Was he told not to come in, Jerry, or
no?
why
They wanted him to come in, but there were so many people on the radio in his defense. I mean, there were people. There was a lot going on, and he was trying to stay out, and I guess he got confused. So there was a little bit of You can imagine how animated this conversation was.
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're all on. Oh, yeah. They're on. Lug nuts. Lug nuts.
Oh.
I mean, Tommy Baldwin wouldn't argue that way. I mean,
but that NASCAR official was standing there looking straight
sure
at
did.
it. Nobody else was on that side of the race car when he was looking at it.
Yeah, you can close my mic.
Well, the discussion continues down in the Ward Burton pit. Now, they have decided not to go green next time around, so this will give Ward an opportunity to come in under the caution and get this situation straightened out.
Yeah, they still have the jet dryer down in turn 1, trying to blow some of that oil dry that they put down from Mike Bliss's blown engine. Now, they're not going to take one official's word for it. They got an army. I'm talking at least a battalion of officials there, so they're going to check. No one can go across the wall until Ward Burton comes in. Those 3 officials look, and if in fact 4 lug nuts are on there, they wave the crew across the wall, they change tires, he goes to the end of the line. If he has 5 lug nuts on, he goes back to the 5th position. Here he comes.
Well, we'll know pretty soon on this saga.
And remember, the NASCAR official has nothing to gain by trying to penalize a race car. He was standing right there looking at this left rear tire. Here comes Ward Burton down pit road. They will stop the car. The NASCAR official will have to look at it and see if the lug nut is on. And there are just 4 on. The NASCAR official was exactly correct. There were only 4 lug nuts on the left side. So now they brought him in, and that was exactly what they should have done. They brought him back in, and now they will change all 4 tires. And so that was a good call by the NASCAR official and a very fair call by NASCAR to give him a chance to come in and look at it. And if they had been wrong, they would have put him back in spot. 4 tires changed, and Ward Burton is away.
But he'll be back in 33rd position.
Well, now we know who is right. The NASCAR officials turned out to be correct in that situation. Just 4 lug nuts on the rear of Ward Burton's car. So he will lose a considerable amount of track position. It's okay, Tommy.
Tommy
He
Baldwin
fought a good battle, didn't he?
Tommy Baldwin right now could absolutely choke himself to death. If he could get his hands around his neck, he'd choke himself to death.
What did you say, Neil?
But yeah. Left side's going on. Okay. Jack goes down. See, he's got to put the thing in gear before it goes up on the right side.
Wow. That's good.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
So you don't break your concentration level when you come into the pits. You've got something else to think about.
We are doing Herb, huh? Yep. Okay. Final checkered flag drop for one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers this past week. 77-year-old Herb Thomas, a 2-time Grand National, now Winston Cup champion in 1951 and 53, passed away. He won 48 races in his career, including the Southern 500 in 51, 54, and 55, and was inducted into many halls of fame. around the country. And Ned, I know you raced with him a lot, didn't you?
Didn't race with him a lot, Bob, but he was my hero. He came from a similar background to me, a farmer and a sawmiller, and I just took a liking to him. I liked his style, and his career really ended prematurely in a wreck at the fairgrounds at half-a-mile dirt track in Shelby, North Carolina, and he was just 33 years old at the time, and no telling what he would have accomplished had that he not had those injuries in that particular wreck. But he was a great guy, great driver.
Now we get set to go back to competition here at Watkins Glen. Jeff Gordon is on the tail end of the lead lap in 34th position. Robbie Gordon is in 5th as they come down to get the flag with Steve Park in the lead. Jeff Burton second, then Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt running in 4th spot. Dale Jarrett in 4th.
Everybody trying to get what they can on this restart. They know that's a good opportunity, and if this race goes green the rest of the way, which nobody's scheduled for any other pit stops, so sometimes on restarts is the best place to pick up a position. Not too many this time though.
While we watch up front here, Ward Burton is back to 33rd position. He gave up all that track position, and Dale Earnhardt, who I mentioned mistakenly up in the top 5, now in 27th position after damage to his car early in the race. These overhead shots, by the way, courtesy of the Pennzoil copter can.
Jeff Gordon has been able to pull away from Steve Park a little bit. I've been watching him. His car has been very fast, even though he was a lap down. It won't surprise me to see him stay out there. Jerry Nadeau comes back out on pit road and heads back out onto the track, many laps down.
Here is Nadeau coming back out onto the racetrack. Understand that the 60 car of Jeffrey Bodine has been black flagged.
Or passing on the wrong side on the restart.
Robbie Gordon taking a look at Dale Jarrett.
I thought that Dale Jarrett was taking a strange line through the corner. The fact of the matter was he was trying to avoid the 25 car that was leaving pit road to go back in the race. And Joe Nemechek still back there behind Bobby Labonte. A great run today for Nemechek. He's currently in 7th position. We saw him last night at dinner talking about Joe Nemechek, and we asked how his car was. He said he thought he had a good race car. It was not extremely fast, but he thought it would handle well and would be very consistent. It looks like he was correct.
Joe Nemechek is great, one of the drivers that knows a lot about race car. Uh-oh, Tom Hubert into the styrofoam.
This is up in the carousel.
Caution is out, and Jeff is going to get the lap back here.
Yeah, the caution is out.
Yep.
Jeff Gordon caught that break. He's still, I don't know if it's a break or not. He's in 34th spot. He's still in 34th spot, but he was on the tail end of the lead lap. Now he goes up and makes about 2.5 miles up. So I don't think he can win the racing back there, but he certainly can pick up some positions.
Yeah, he'll pick up a lot of positions because he'll come in, put on 4 new tires, and so this is exactly what he was looking for.
Tom Hubert able to drive away the Mobil 1 Ford after this impact with the styrofoam. Again, this is in turn number 9 that we've seen a lot of crashes this weekend.
We'll see him pull out of there. Well, we did see him pull out of there, and very little damage to the car. Going in there, you see some on the right rear there, but it doesn't look very like it's too much damage.
I've talked about soft walls before many, many times, and that's a clear indication of just what a valuable tool that is. The guys hit the styrofoam. Also, they have a barrier behind that gives when they hit, and they start the cars up and drive away. There's still a lot of damage to the cars, but nevertheless, the drivers feel like starting them up and driving away.
This is Hubert's 6th NASCAR Winston Cup start here today. He had 3 starts at Sears Point, 1 here at Watkins Glen in 1998, and his other Winston Cup start was at Las Vegas last year. When we think about soft walls, we also remember an incident that occurred here at Watkins Glen in June of this year during the Busch race, and Jimmy Johnson, watch this.
He lost a brake line, a front brake line, folks. And this, we saw Rusty Wallace running about 150 miles per hour in turn 1. Jimmy Johnson runs into that wall about 130 and jumps out and waves to the crowd simply because he hit styrofoam and a wall that gave.
Too bad we can't have soft walls on the ovals that we run on. Maybe someday we will. 68 out of 90 laps completed. The top 5, Steve Park, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, and Robbie Gordon. Where did he go? Did he say be right back?
Then you know the brake line, how the fitting is pressed onto the line, supposed to withstand 60,000 pounds over 6,000 pounds pressure. That fitting, the line popped out of it.
Well, that had to be a
So he goes down there
sinking feeling
and hits the brakes. Has got nothing, zero. Mikey, you gonna pick Bob and I up at the? That's what I figured.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Well, check my bag, will you? Check my bag, will you?
We don't. What do you mean we? We'd be checking Mikey's bag.
That's right. Sorry. I'll take your bag home with me, Mike.
See you on Tuesday. Oh. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, Bob is always prepared, Mikey. You know that.
Well, Jeff Gordon coming in the pits. You guys are
reshod.
You guys are Jeff Gordon pits.
We are doing billboards? Okay. I'm ready if you are. Oh! Well, that was quick. ESPN's coverage of the Global Crossing at the Glen is being brought to you by Kmart, Route 66. Jeans, clothes. It's not Main Street, only at Kmart. By America's #1 choice in tools, Craftsman makes anything possible. And by Conseco. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Tom Hubert has looked back to pit road. He's going to get 4 fresh tires. They'll pull the sheet metal away. He's got some rear damage. He's also got a bunch of styrofoam stuck in the wheel wells, a small price to pay. But they tell him he's good to go, and he'll rumble back out there and try and finish this race. And we go to Jerry.
And Jeff Gordon's battered and beaten DuPont Chevrolet just on and off pit road. They changed 4 tires. He'll be one of the final cars on the lead lap. They asked Jeff how the car was. He said, well, actually, the car's pretty good, and maybe even better on long runs. They told him you got 20 laps to get there.
I don't think he has even as good as he is and the car that he has time to get back up to the front.
If he does not win here this afternoon, it will end the streak of 6 road course victories in a row.
Then I won't go.
Were you thinking of also going?
I was also thinking of it. But
were you? Yeah, that's one downstairs. You'll have to wait in line for.
Not me.
Excuse me.
Not me.
I'm old BP. Stand aside.
BP's here. Get out of the way. Steve Park got a couple of those Roushketeers right behind him, don't he? Come on, Robert. They won't let you have that big a jump. Will they, Ned?
Field heading for turn number 11, looking for the green flag when they hit the line.
Little Robbie Gordon laying back there, going to try to get him a run, try to anticipate this thing and get him a run, but unfortunately the other guys, Dale Jarrett backed up to it, so he would not be able to get that run on him.
And on lap number 71, at the conclusion of lap 70, the green flag comes out. We've got 20 laps of racing remaining. Mark Martin going to the inside. Jarrett there with him, and
nobody can make a pass.
Nope. And Robbie Gordon trying to get on the inside of DJ, and there he goes.
Yeah, he did make a pass.
Move Robbie Gordon up into 4th spot now.
There's those sparks flying off somebody's car through that corner. DJ shifts into 4th gear. Down the middle of the road, trying to keep Bobby Labonte behind him. That's what that was all about. And there's Joe Nemechek back there as well. So right now, DJ lets someone get on the inside. He's probably going to lose a couple of spots.
Look at Ward Burton get wide exiting the inner loop, and that allowed Mark Martin to get to the inside as they come up through the short stop.
Oh,
Park sideways. And Mark Martin and Jeff Burton go side by side into turn 10.
I thought they was going 3 abreast. That would work. I don't think it'll work for 2. But since they're teammates, it might.
And they're still side by side. Now Robbie Gordon's going to get a run on these guys.
He's going to push Mark Martin down the front straightaway here. See if Mark can get down in front of his teammate, Jeff Burton. Nope, couldn't do it that time.
And Mark and Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton battling for that 2nd spot has allowed Steve Parker to blow out to about a 2nd lead on them.
He's loving that. Look back in his rearview mirror and say, go on, get side by side again, fellas.
Please do this for another 18 or 19 laps or 20.
Well, there is some tied racing. There's
Nemechek all over the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Battle for 6th.
Meanwhile, the 17 car of Matt Kenseth goes by Hornaday. Oh, and the 10 car is in the gravel. He's going to hit the wall.
I don't know.
No, he didn't.
He drove out of it.
Similar to the way Rusty did when Rusty went out through there. It cost him a lot of positions.
It's going to cost Johnny Benson a lot of positions too. And now there's Dale Earnhardt looking to the inside of Sterling Marlin.
Oh, some contact between Earnhardt and Sterling. And Sterling does not get stuck, so the caution flag will not come out.
There, Ward Burton was able to pick up another position. And Ricky Rudd is one of those that's back in the pack too. He was 23rd on the restart. He's moved up to 21st now, but.
And there's Jeff Gordon. He's back in about 32nd, although on the lead lap.
He is running about almost 15 seconds behind the leader, trying to pick off a few positions.
Trying to get up by Stacy Compton in the 9 car.
Stacy is in 29.
The last 10 races on road courses, Jeff Gordon has 3 poles. And of course, he has won the last 6 in a row, 9 top 5s, and an average finish of 2.1, leading all drivers in 4 of those 5 categories. Well, he finally got around Compton.
Rusty Wallace is coming down pit road.
And I think he got off track here a little bit ago. Rest the heads down. He apparently has a flat tire. Let's take a look at him here now. And looked like the right front tire might have been flat because he just couldn't make that turn, Jerry.
They're not sure which one it might be, Ned. They think it might be a left front. It could be a right front. They're going to go ahead and change all four anyway, rather than take a chance on Rusty Wallace possibly having a tire go down because it's leaking air, come apart, and him bounce off one of these guardrails around here. They're going to change all four tires. The right rear tire's on, and he's away.
This is exactly what we talked about at the top of the show. You can slide off, have a flat tire, slide off the track, running up there in the top 15 he was. Now he's going to be back in 34th position.
With 16 laps to go in the race.
And as Steve Park goes by the start-finish line, he has led the most laps. He has won the Gatorade Front Runner Award. The first time he's ever done that in his career. $10,000 bonus, but meanwhile, he's telling those Roushketeers, just please, guys, keep racing.
Mark Martin still trying to get around his teammate Jeff Burton. Thought he had a run on him there going into turn one, but that didn't quite work.
Steve Park has led 38 laps. Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton have both led 14. Ricky Rudd 3, Dallenbach 2, Martin 2, and Robbie Gordon has been out front for one circuit. Well, will Steve Park drive to victory here at Watkins Glen? We'll be back in a moment.
I said the first time he's ever done that. I'm sure it's the first time he's ever led the most laps, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, he led a lot of laps into 600 one year.
He did, didn't he? Well, that's right.
Baseball.
Nobody will remember that.
Nah.
Most of them. 60 cars in the lead lap, huh? Good gracious.
Cool. 15 laps.
20 minutes.
What a hero he is, huh, VP?
What a guy.
Only concern for the race fans.
Look at Park and Burt last time, 120.2 miles an hour. Wow. Everybody talks about driving their guts out. Steve Park is driving his guts out.
He is. Are we doing baseball? Steve Park continues to lead the global crossing at the Glen. Second place is Jeff Burton and third place is Mark Martin.
On board with Jeff Burton, the Parts Plus onboard camera out the back bumper. He looked back at Mark Martin, the car in third spot.
Couple of baseball games coming up tonight on Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gum Out. 8 o'clock on ESPN, it's the Reds against the Cubs. And then on ESPN2, the New York Yankees against the Anaheim Angels. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Oh, Steve Park. Oh, wouldn't it be, well, just imagine how happy Steve Park could be if he could just pull this thing off today.
Well, that car was damaged on the second lap of the race. We're talking about Tony Stewart. But he has driven all the way up to 8th position now.
See, Robbie Gordon has moved into that 4th spot. Well, he had done that before, hadn't he? Yes.
Yeah. Did it on the restart.
Yes.
And has maintained that spot, losing a little bit to Mark Martin, who is in third, but he's doing a good job of holding off Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte.
Tony Stewart is driving the same car that he finished 10th in at Sears Point, leading 2 laps after starting 4th. Steve Park, meanwhile, his best career finish was earlier this year in Atlanta. He finished 4th.
Ever see Bobby Labonte there at the Interstate Batteries Pontiac? Ned and I talked about at the top of the show 3 races that he has coming up the remainder of the year. Here, the night race at Bristol, and Talladega. 3 big hurdles he's got to get over. And I tell you what, he has run this race today almost flawless.
Ran a very smart race, no question about it. He's got his 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Neither Dale Jarrett nor Dale Earnhardt, his closest pursuers in the point standings, have led. So he's keeping the thing on the road and doing exactly what he needs to do.
Labonte did start from pole position, although starting positions were awarded as a result of owner points because rain washed out qualifying on Saturday, and then they rescheduled for Sunday, and it was, or rather Saturday, and it was also rained out then.
Steve Park, you can tell he's really trying because each time down in turn 1, that Pennzoil Pontiac smokes that right front just a little bit as he buries that thing down in the corner. Steve Park is driving as hard as he possibly can right now.
Bill Weber's with Paul Andrews, who awaits possible victory by his driver.
Paul, you told me earlier in the day you guys came here on a mission. Your car is superb. Can he hold off the rest of the guys?
Well, it looks like he can. You know, right now we're pulling away a little bit, but we know we still got about another 12 laps to go here. So, you know, we could start falling off and they could start getting better. But I think we can hold them off. You know, it's pretty. You got a first-time winner, first-time potential winner right there, getting ready to take the checkered, and he'll do everything he can do to stay in front.
He's been very quiet today.
He has been quiet. You know, when you got a good car, we need to talk. We just been telling him what's going on, tell him where the cars are, and tell him how he's running, you know, and we haven't touched the car all day. It's been perfect.
Okay, that's Paul Andrews. He's the crew chief for Steve Park. Now pay attention to this as they make a change for position on the track with Mark going into 2nd place. Paul Andrews was crew chief when Alan Kowicki got his first win in 1988. He was crew chief for Jeremy Mayfield's first win in 1998. He could be the crew chief today for Steve Park's first win. That would be the Winston Cup hat trick.
And I'm sure that they didn't want to look in, he didn't want to look in his rearview mirror and see that 6 car past the 99 car, because he's been, as Paul Andrews said, he's been pulling away a little bit from that 99 car. But that 6 car, I believe, is a little bit faster. Evidently is, because he passed the 99, beginning to pull away. So we'll see if he can make up that distance now on Steve Park.
Last time by, he was quicker than Steve Park, although Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte were quicker than those 2. But Mark Martin, you can see, putting a little distance on Jeff Burton.
They will
do the S's.
Next time around, they will complete lap number 80. We got 10 to go here at Watkins Glen. Check the speeds this lap as they hit the line. Well, the fastest car on the racetrack was Mark Martin. Whoop, the 20 car.
And once again, Steve Park, we saw that trail of smoke where he knows it now that Mark Martin is gaining, so he really drove it down in turn 1.
Mark Martin with a 1.1 second interval when they hit the line last time between himself and Steve Park.
Bob, while we're watching these, let's update Ricky Rudd. He now has moved up to the 15th position, so he's picking off a lot of cars. And Jeff Gordon as well. Ricky Rudd working on Bill Elliott right now. As you see, trying to take that 14th, well, actually 13th. He's moved around Kenny Wallace, so he's trying to move up to the 13th position. And while we're watching that, we'll also update you on Jeff Gordon. He has moved up to 26th. Remember, he was 33rd on the restart. 34th, actually.
And Ward Burton is currently shown in the 23rd position.
So he's been able to pick up a lot of positions.
Chad Little has been able to get around Ron Hornaday. That moves Chad up to the 11th position.
Well, Chad Little has had a terrific run today in that John Deere car. And Rudd, just that little wiggle from Bill Elliott allowed Rudd to get on the inside, take that spot away. Bill Elliott, that last pit stop, only changed left side tires, trying to get some track position. So right now, he's probably at a disadvantage with these cars behind him. That's the way that was what would happen to me, Ned. I'd change 2 tires, and then the caution flag would come out, just like it happened to Bill Elliott.
Yeah, it would work good if it stayed green.
Last time by Steve Park and Mark Martin both ran over 120 miles per hour, almost exactly the same speed. But Mark Martin is not letting Steve Park get out of his sight.
And we have a spin there in the inner loop.
I heard someone say Ward Burton was involved, but he's back on the racetrack, so it must have been a quick spin and go.
No caution. Everybody kept going. Up on Dale Earnhardt.
It must have been Ward Burton that slowed down, because he was in front of Earnhardt the last time by, and now he's behind Earnhardt. Let's see what happens.
Well, the 25 car spins around, and they have to slow down to get around him. Earnhardt passes Ward Burton back there.
And the 25 car just simply goes in the corner too hard. Couldn't make the inner loop and spun around, and luckily no one hit him.
Ward just had to get on the brakes real hard while Earnhardt drove around him. Well, now the interval up to 1.2 seconds as of last lap. So Mark isn't at the moment catching him, but we still got 8 laps to go.
Yeah, the last time Steve Park ran 120.367. Mark was 121.09, so picked up just a little bit. But this race for third is beginning to heat up. And this one right here between Nemechek and Tony Stewart has been hot for about 4 or 5 laps. Stewart has been up the side of him a couple of times, but has not been able to make the pass.
Well, now
Park, let's go down the corner, watch him smoke the right front. Didn't know it out. A little bit of smoke, a little bit of smoke.
And Tony Stewart gets the spot from Joe Nemechek, so moves Stewart now up into the 7th position, and the interval between first and second now is less than a second, 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, Martin ran over 120.39, where Park ran 119.650 that last lap, so he picked up quite a bit.
11 corners, 22 places to make a mistake every lap. Oh, here comes Jeff Gordon and all that bunch. 22, 3, 24, 60.
21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. These guys are going at it just as hard back there as they are up front.
Robert Preston's in that group. Elliott Sadler's in that group. And we see Jeff Gordon on the inside of Earnhardt. Meanwhile, back to the lead, and Mark is right there. Martin right there, just 2 car lengths behind.
Jeff Burton's car is not working quite as good right now because that group has caught him. Let's see if he likes the brakes up Steve Park. Benny said he's been doing it every time. Well, didn't look like he did that. Well, a little bit, maybe.
Mark was faster that last lap, 120.3 compared with Park's 119.7, and Mark further reduced the interval down to less than half a second.
But as we've always said, catching them's one thing and passing them is another.
We've already had 2 first-time winners this year.
What Watkins pulled out trying to make a pass on Dale Jarrett going into that corner, but that didn't work.
Great run today for Robbie Gordon at 13 car as we see Bobby Labonte, the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader. Right now it would be, this race would end now, he and Dale Jarrett would break even.
John Kernan has more on Gordon, a little bit sideways there in the corner. John?
Yes, he was, Bob, and the team racing with a heavy heart today because their pit team trainer, John Slusher, is not with them here at the racetrack today. His sister passed away this last week due to cancer, and Robbie asked me to make sure and tell John, who's watching the race, that the team is thinking about him.
Well, Robbie is having an excellent run this afternoon.
And folks,
Last time by, Mark Martin ran 120.559. Steve Park ran 120.4. Folks, they are giving it everything they possibly have. Both these young men behind the wheels of these race cars. It's just fantastic what they're doing in those cars.
They're pulling away from the third place man, Jeff Burton.
And he's running 119 miles per hour, but yet losing ground every lap to these two cars.
Mark Martin has won 3 times here at Watkins Glen, 93, 94, and 95, as we chase them around the course with the Pennzoil copter cam, and the laps continue to reduce. Now there are only 4 circuits to go.
Mark, he's trying to dive under Park. He's just getting out of the mirror, out of the sight, trying to make Steve Park driving that corner a little bit too hard.
Well, they're using every bit of the racetrack. All those run-out areas and whatever they need.
Watching the 1 car go down the straightaway, it's obvious that Richie Gilmore and all the guys have made some terrific horsepower for Steve Park. But Mark Martin with that Roush engine, equally as strong.
Steve Park from East Northport, New York.
Car seems to be really working well. He's able to keep it right down on the bottom groove. Well, Steve Park is too, but boy, Mark is moving in closer. He's going to try to make him make a mistake.
Just 3 circuits to go now.
Paul Andrews watches on. On Mark once again, he gets out. He takes a look.
No,
couldn't quite make it. That looks like from here back to turn 9, the carousel, that Steve Park is a little bit better than Mark Martin. But from 9 to the start-finish line, it appears to me like Martin is better than Steve Park.
So Mark's got 2 more chances.
Bobby Labonte has passed Dale Jarrett.
And now Tony Stewart right behind Dale Jarrett. Out on the back stretch. And Stewart will go to the inside.
Takes that spot away.
BJ lost 10 points, 9 points from that lap.
All right, they head for turn number 10 once again. That is Rusty Wallace running right ahead of them in 34th position, still on the lead lap.
Remember, he made a green flag pit stop, an unscheduled pit stop after getting off course.
Oh, once again, Park gets a little loose, and that might be just enough for Mark Martin to get a run and get under him in turn 1. Can he?
See, Rusty Wallace got completely out of the way. He did not want to affect the outcome of this race.
Not able to do it that time, and he'll have 1 more opportunity if he's going to pass in turn 1.
Mark Martin is using a little bit more racetrack than Steve Park. He's using all the runoff in turn 1, that wide area. Really letting that car go up on it.
That last lap, Mark was just a little bit faster than Steve Park.
Bobby Labonte now moving up on Robbie Gordon. He really put the pressure on him going into turn 1. Let's see what he does now as he go into the interloop.
Gordon's best career finish was here at the Glen in '97. He finished 4th, and that's where he's running right now, but he is under fire from Bobby Labonte. Here they come once again out of corner number 9. Down this short stretch, and they'll be seeing the white flag this time by, and this will be a very important turn 11 for Steve Park.
Yes, he will. The last 2 times he slipped a little bit off the corner. Use all the track now, Steve. Let her go up there. There you go. Good exit. Very good exit.
There's the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Will Mark Martin try to make his move here going into turn number 1? He cannot make a move.
Park did not slide that right front.
Steve Park is headed toward his first NASCAR Winston Cup victory, but let's not give it to him yet.
So Mark Martin, we saw the last couple laps. He has some good power in that number 6 car. He might be able to get in the inner loop a little bit harder than Park. Can he? Doesn't look like it.
Can you imagine what's going through Steve Park's mind right now? He has a good entry and exit from the inner loop. Mark Martin remains a couple of car lengths behind. He's got this long sweeper here, turn 9, a straightaway, and 2 more, and then the checkered flag.
Boy, both of those drivers just absolutely driving their heart out. I'm telling you what, to get everything they possibly have in their body, trying to get to a victory lane.
Through turn number 10.
One more to go.
And Steve Park is going to do it. Steve Park is going to win the Global Crossing at the Glen, his first NASCAR Winston Cup victory in his 77th race. The cars cross the line. Robbie Gordon finishes 4th, equaling his best career finish. Bobby Labonte, the pole sitter and points leader, is 5th. Tony Stewart ends up 6th. Dale Jarrett is 7th. And Ricky Rudd comes home in 11th. Chad Little with a good run in 12th. Kenny Wallace finishes 14th. Hornaday in substitution for Terry Labonte is 15th. Bill?
Well, Paul Andrews shaking hands like a presidential candidate that has just received the nomination. Congratulations, you got Steve Park to victory lane. The 3rd time you've taken a driver to his first Winston Cup win.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool. You know, we've been a rough year this year. You know, we've kind of down on ourselves because we've been beating ourselves up. You know, we're 18th in points, and you know we could be better than this. No, we should be better than this. We've had some little crazy things happen to us, but you know, we knew we've always had the good cars. We knew we had a good driver behind us, and we just had the right equipment. We just needed to make it happen, you know, and we did here, and that's awesome.
A handshake from Robin Pemberton. Obviously, you guys have worked so hard at this. He beat one of the best, too, in Mark Martin to get it.
You know, exactly right. And you knew when Mark Martin's behind you, he's going to treat you right and treat you fair. Wasn't going to do anything dirty, and I think that meant a lot, you know. Even when Burton was back there, you know, I was kind of worried about Mark a little more than Burton because I knew his stuff was, the last run there was a little bit better than ours, a little bit better than Burton, so I thought he was the one that was going to come, and he drove us clean, and that's awesome, man. Steve done a great job. Thank Dale and Teresa for putting us here, and Pennzoil, man, it's been awesome. You know, Pennzoil's been behind Dale and Steve Park for a long time, and we're really happy to get them a win here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Steve Park and Paul Andrews head to victory lane, and today car number 1 finishes number 1 here at Watkins Glen.
He's the 13th winner in 2000, the most since there were 14 in 1991. Well, I was wrong, Ned. Nadeau isn't the next first-time winner, but it is Steve Park. Yep. That's great. I'm glad to see him win. Look at Earnhardt. Look at Earnhardt. Look at Earnhardt. There's victory lane, Steve. He's going to get out right in the middle of the track.
Wow.
From New York, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so cool, man.
Okay. back at Watkins Glen, and Steve Park can't wait for victory lane. He just drove to the start-finish line, got out of the car moments ago, and received the congratulations from his hometown, or home state fans, I should say. Steve Park, a native of New York, now has made his way to victory lane. And we're almost ready for a McDonald's winner's circle interview as Steve gets out of the car. Down to Jerry Punch.
He climbs out with a huge smile, and 10 days shy of your 33rd birthday, you get an early birthday present, Steve. Congratulations. Win #1 in NASCAR's Winston Cup.
It's just unbelievable, Jerry. I just like to thank God. I like to thank my family, my mom and dad. They're not here. I wish they were here. It's emotional. I got to thank Dale Earnhardt and Teresa and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated and Pennzoil. Man, I don't know what to say. They've stuck by us through thick and thin, man, broken bones and everything else. And we told them we'd bring them to victory lane, and they stuck by us. And here we are in victory lane. And this Chevrolet Monte Carlo hot rod is hard to beat. And that Ford was coming pretty tough there at the end, but I thought we had something to hold them off. And Goodyear tires are great. Wrangler, Coca-Cola, Snap-on, just everybody. But Mom and Dad were coming home to party, right? Yeah!
Steve, 4 years ago this very weekend, a guy named Earnhardt stood on top of his truck and admired the talent and tenacity of a young man in the Busch North race. He said, this man will be a great one someday. He needs to go to the Busch Series. And now 4 years later, you're in victory lane. As Paul Andrews comes up, the dues paid off.
It sure did, I'll tell you. You know, since Paul came on board, he just really turned his team around, and we work so good together. And Goodyear's come with a second-generation tire that's really working great, and we've been working hard trying to figure it out, and I think we're on to something right now. So this guy right here, he's the best. I love him to death. He's awesome. And again, I just like to thank all our sponsors, you know, the good Lord for giving us a good, safe race. And, you know, our hearts have been with Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin's family, because that's something that we just don't want to see in this. And there's so many highs and lows. We're going to enjoy the high this weekend. And, man, and all the fans, I mean, I'll tell you what, everyone's been sticking behind me from New York all the way to North Carolina, and this one's for all the race fans. They've just been telling me, man, you're going to do it no matter how low we get and no matter how bleak it looks. They've kept me pumped up, and this is for all of them. This is for my family. This is for this team. I told them today on the radio, we just became in the next level. We're all winners now. So, hey,
how about this guy here? Oh. All right, Dale Earnhardt comes in for the celebration. He is so proud of his driver as Steve Park becomes the 13th different winner here in the year 2003. First-time NASCAR Winston Cup winner. Bob?
Other first-time winners, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth. It's the first time we've had 3 first-time winners since 1994. Steve Park from East Northport, New York, wins at Watkins Glen, New York. Now, what were you saying, BP?
That's the first win for Pontiac. First top 5 for Pontiac on a road course since 1995.
Really?
At Watkins Glen. At Watkins Glen, I'm sorry.
Okay, I can't get all that in, Bill. Thanks anyway. Well, I don't know that. I'll take him, Bill.
He threw him away now.
ESPN's coverage of the Global Crossing at the Glen from Watkins Glen is being brought to you by Daytona USA, the official attraction of NASCAR. By brand name tires, oil changes, and more at your neighborhood Walmart Tire and Lube Express. And by Travelodge. Relax at Travelodge for a great deal and a great deal more. 1-800-578-7878. Steve Park wins. Bill is with the second place finisher.
And that would be Mark Martin. You drove an outstanding race. I thought down the stretch, Mark, you might be able to get him.
Well, we turned it up a little bit there at the end, but it wasn't quite enough. And Steve Park earned that thing. He came from behind me, passed me, drove to the front. And, you know, track position hurt us, but he did it. And I think we had the best car there at the end, but we just couldn't do anything with it. I put the pressure on him, but, you know, made it interesting for the fans. As long as we get a win once in a while, I guess that's okay. But, you know, I just I couldn't get it done. And it was a good show for the Valvoline team. Feels good to be a contender. And, you know, I'm just happy with the run. And we'll take it and try to do a little better next time.
See you at Michigan.
Thank you.
Mark Martin comes home second.
Well, you remember a couple months ago, Robbie Gordon and his team decided to kind of take a break as such and get things in order, pick and choose their races. Well, Robbie, after starting 42nd today, you come home with a 4th place finish, tying your career best. I guess you had a lot of fun out there.
I don't know, a lot of fun and a lot of work. You know, we passed a lot of cars, and unfortunately, we damaged up the front end a little bit, lost a little bit of front downforce. Hats off to Steve, excellent job. I'd like to say hi to a friend of ours, John Slusher, who's going through some tough times right now with his family, and pit stop crew did a great job today. Everybody on the race team has done an excellent job. We're excellent. We're really excited about having Sony on board for this weekend and to get a good result for them. We'll just keep going. We'll show up at Michigan next week.
All right, Robbie Gordon, great run, 4th place today. We'll be at Michigan next week.
Well, Steve Park is under a barrage of interviews from the media. And it's nice to see another first-time winner in victory lane. It's nice that Steve could win in his home state.
Isn't it great to see that energy and that enthusiasm when these guys, I mean, Steve Park jumped on top of that car. He was so doggone happy.
He's the 12th driver to win a Winston Cup race at Watkins Glen in 18 events. Congratulations to Steve. We'll be back with more in a moment. What is up next? For race fans only with Jeff Gordon, is that what's coming up next?
Darrell Waltrip has another good run, Bob. 20th spot.
Yep.
Jeff Gordon gained 10 spots in the last 25 laps.
And it's the first top 5 for Pontiacs here since when?
1995.
Congratulate the fine folks at Pennzoil. Big day.
Thank you and congratulations.
Who? Really? Worth a few bucks, huh? Good results, eh? Yep. Okay. Back live at Watkins Glen all afternoon, the Pennzoil Copter Cam has been in the skies, and this is an historic day because it has been following the Pennzoil Chevy to its first NASCAR Winston Cup win by Steve Park. Let's take a look at the final results. It's the first road course top 5 finish for Jeff Burton, who came home third. The second straight road course top 5 for Bobby Labonte. The top finishing rookie was Matt Kenseth in 10th position.
And see Ron Hornaday back in 15th. Ward Burton comes back to finish 22nd, and Jeff Gordon picked up 10 spots in the last 20 laps or so, and Dale Earnhardt, after his problems, will finish in the 25th spot.
33 cars were on the lead lap when the checkered flag dropped. Rusty Wallace was one behind, relinquishing that lap in the closing laps of the race. Well, it's now a 101-point advantage for Bobby Labonte over Dale Jarrett. Tony Stewart, as a result of his 6th place finish, moves up a position. Rusty lost 1. Ricky Rudd moved up 1. Mark Martin up 1. And Jeff Gordon drops 2 positions as a result of his race here this afternoon. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, another one of the Roush drivers that had a great day. Jeff Burton, car just went away on you at the end.
It did. We got a little bit tight, but that's because I don't have much experience running up front here and didn't really know what to tell him to do to the car. We just took a stab at it, and we made it too tight. And my guys did a great job. The car ran well all day, and that's just a lack of experience knowing what to do with your car.
Okay, we'll see you at Michigan as well.
Thank you.
All right, John.
Bobby Labonte comes through with a career best finish here at Watkins Glen, 5th place after a 4th place finish at Sears Point, increases his point lead. Bobby, become quite the road racer.
A bad imitator right here. We're just very fortunate. We had good track position all day. Qualifying got rained out, and we started up front. And we stayed up there, top 5 all day, just about. And it was a great run for the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. And the biggest thing was staying on the racetrack today.
And he did that, came home with a 5th place finish, increases his lead to 101. Bob.
Now we'll see what Bobby Labonte and the other NASCAR Winston Cup drivers can do at Michigan Speedway. That's where we'll be on Friday for Bud Pole qualifying. You can see it on ESPN2 at 3:30. Saturday's the Busch race at noon on ESPN. Our happy hour coverage also next Saturday evening at 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Then on race day next Sunday, week from today, RPM today at 11:30. NASCAR today with Bill Weber at 12:30. The Pepsi 400's on at 1 o'clock on ESPN. And then RPM tonight with a wrap-up at 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2 next Sunday. Well, for race fans only, featuring Jeff Gordon, will be coming up next here on ESPN. Another first-time winner for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Steve Park wins at Watkins Glen, New York. There were a total of 7 different leaders and 8 lead changes. Steve Park led the most laps with 54, also leading Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, Wally Dalamac, Mark Martin, and Robbie Gordon. There were a total of 5 caution periods for 13 laps. One of those caution periods involving, of course, Jeff Gordon. The average speed of the race was 91.342 miles per hour. Congratulations to Steve Park, who started 18th here this afternoon and drove to victory at the Global Crossing at the Glen in front of his home state fans. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm in victory lane. Do I?
Hey guys, we good?
How soon do you need him over here? How soon do you need Steve over here? Paul, are you going to put the headset on Steve when he comes over? Is that what you're going to do?
I will if.
Yeah, okay.
Is it your headset that he uses, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're with RPM?
Yes. Yeah.
Let me give this to you. I'm going to give Paul from RPM my headset. He's going to put on Steve when he comes over in a few minutes, okay? You want me to stand here and wait on Steve to come down, or can I give my headset to... From RPM, yeah, Paul from RPM, I think. Okay. Okay, we'll do. Yeah, go ahead. I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Watching highlights of the Global Crossing at the Glen, the 21st race of the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season from Watkins Glen International in New York. We now move ahead in our coverage. Watching highlights of the Global Crossing at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen International in New York. Our next Winston Cup race will be at Michigan, with coverage beginning with Bud Pole qualifying Friday at 3:30. The Busch Series event is at noon on Saturday. Then on Sunday, our coverage begins with RPM Today, NASCAR Today at 12:30, the Pepsi 400 at 1, and RPM Tonight next Sunday at 7:30. We'll have more from here at Watkins Glen International in a moment.
Okay, we're still in victory lane waiting, and I do